Welcome everybody back to our latest session of Scarlet Citadel. So the group has an interesting travel bit in front of them here. As usual, we will go through a quick recap and then jump into our session. So when we picked up last session, you guys are actually in the Cage Inn and Tavern and doing a bunch of different conversation. Had been trying to discuss with Hymar some way of getting into the tournament for Grask. Hymar seemed to be very much opposed to this idea, essentially saying that there's no real hope to get a lizard folk into the tournament, as those that run the tournament, they would not be open to such an idea. Explained that the only way that would actually work is through disguising Grask's presence. Grask said he did not want to fight under a disguise, was hoping to earn this glory under his own name for himself, and was trying to make sure that he had an opportunity to do just that. That did not seem like it was likely to happen based on this discussion and what was going on, but later the group was able to spot a couple of kind of like noble-ish individuals, kind of dressed more like high-end merchants maybe. Their attire was more wealthy, I guess you could say, than your more common folks. And as the group noticed this, Basan decided to head over there and kind of chat with them. And it turned out that, yeah, indeed, they were some lower-ranking nobles or higher-end merchants. There was 4 of them, so it was a bit of a mixed bag. But as Basan sort of explained to them, if anyone was looking to sponsor a champion for the tournament, and kind of went back and forth on this, one of the individuals who you later learned his name was Rex, he agreed that, or he essentially filled Basan in on some information that at Proudglaive, where this tournament occurs, because the official tournament is sort of all pomp and circumstance and designed for nobles and the wealthy amongst the elites of the area, there's always sort of like an underground tournament that goes on at the same time that's more for the regular folks, you could say. And so he explained that he would be willing to sponsor Grask, and there was a split that was designed, a percentage of the winnings that were divided up should Grask happen to win this competition. Rex was able to provide some basic details, and essentially after speaking with Basan and seeing Grask as he walked by and getting a good look at him, realized that this was a reasonable or a good decision to move forward with in order to have Grask fight and Rex to sponsor him. So Rex explained that the group could make their way over to Proudglaive, and he dropped the name of an inn that the group could find him nearby. And the group, even if you guys don't recall that, obviously you'll know, your team knows that. So once you guys make your way to Proudglaive, you'll be able to head to that inn and speak with Rex, and he said he would show you the rest from there. With that information underway, Basan went back to the table, explained the whole situation to Grask. Grask agreed to fight in this competition, and then there was a bit of discussion amongst yourselves as far as when you head over to Proudglaive, what might you try to participate in. So I know Grask wants to participate in this underground competition. Basan indicated that he was hoping to compete in the official archery event. Jolly indicated she'd be willing to participate in underground battling as long as it was against sort of like humanoid opponents and not necessarily against monsters or animals of some type. And Hugo said he wanted to see if there was any competitions that would allow him to use magic, and he would then participate in that way. So with that information in your heads, as you guys finished up those details, you guys did make your way over to Zula's cottage, which was pointed out to you previously, and inquired with Zula there. Zula ended up being this witch-like figure, and that's how it was described to you. She was somewhat mysterious or enigmatic, and offered to have one of you enter her cabin here if you're willing to essentially pay a price for some information. The question that was really asked of her is there a way to find that other entrance you guys had previously come out of after battling the Trollkin? And she said that yes, she could do this. You notice that when she said she could do this, after you guys agreed and Basan agreed to pay the mysterious payment or the mysterious cost, which wasn't really known to the group at the time, she stepped forward and, putting her hands on Renaud's face, looked deeply into his eyes and then looked back towards Basan and said, okay. Walked into the cabin, and Basan followed her. They had a conversation inside, which obviously as players, most of you guys heard this, but your characters obviously haven't heard. And in addition, it seemed as though she cast a spell before revealing some of this information. Basan felt this sort of binding effect on him as it occurred, and he's been, so far, has kept that information under wraps as far as what was revealed. There was a lot of interesting information revealed inside. Probably most prominently is that she had regular contact with Gellert the Gruesome, who was supposed to be the sort of leader or head guy in the Scarlet Citadel near its depths. And she said she explained that the two basically carried on correspondence. She would tell him some details of what was going on in the village of Red Tower. He would provide her with some hard-to-find magical or alchemical components to be used in her concoctions. So with this information in Basan's head, she was also able to provide a few other details about some of the enemies, I believe, that was discussed. And she was able to, she seemed like she had quite a bit of information about the Scarlet Citadel itself. And not necessarily, encyclopedic information, but she was able to provide some additional details that perhaps the group didn't exactly have. So with that accomplished, and Basan exiting the cabin, looking a little bit worse for wear, as his part of this price was slicing his arm and using his blood in a concoction of a potion. He eventually drank that potion, and he was able to feel sort of like a drawing sensation to a location. His heart would speed up as he got closer to this, or would slow down if he moved in an off direction. And by trusting this feeling, he was able to get closer and closer, and eventually, after you guys walked in that direction, you were able to find the entrance once again back down to the 3rd level of the Scarlet Citadel. As you guys made your way down there and got a distance away from where you knew the tunnel was, found that door that leads off to places unknown, you guys decided to have both Basan and Jolly move forward and kind of scout out a little bit. So Basan was able to use some magic. I think it was Basan that cast the invisibility to turn the two of you guys invisible, made your way forward, and tried to see what was going on in that room. As the two got a bit closer, it sounded as though there was a trap or some kind of notification or alarm set off. As one of the Trollkin, first you heard the sounds of some large animal sounds, and then one of the Trollkin stepped over towards the tunnel and looked down, not seeing anybody because both of our characters were invisible, and then he walked away. So the group was able to determine that somehow he was made aware that there was somebody or some kind of noise or disturbance in the tunnel, and he decided to check it out. So once the group realized that and didn't want to just risk automatically alerting all of the Trollkin, the group backed up and ultimately decided to enter the Scarlet Citadel from the top instead of from this area. So the group made their way back, walked over to the... you guys walked back over to the primary entrance, made your way back down to the 2nd level. Once you got down to the 2nd level, you went back to that room where the machine was, and you noticed that it was destroyed. It wasn't destroyed the last time you were in the Scarlet Citadel, but it was now. And as you guys got back there, Sebastian let you know that he heard something coming from the eastern hallway. You guys decided to go that way and check it out. You made your way down the eastern hallway, didn't see anything odd or out of the ordinary. He indicated that he heard the sound of like a door closing. And as you guys made your way to the other end of the hallway, to the other door, you found that it was, I believe it was still opened at the time. But either way, Sebastian said, well, I don't think there's any way I'd be able to hear that door all the way from over there. And so this made some of you think that maybe there was another secret door in this area, like there already one you had already discovered. So as the group searched this room, they were able to find a secret door on the south wall. And this led into a series of 2 chambers. So as the group opened that door, they noticed that there was a bunch of rubble or boxes, crates, that kind of stuff all piled up. A makeshift wall that had some crossbows built into it. These little goblinoid creatures were holding onto cords that were attached to these crossbows and would pull on them to fire crossbow bolts from the makeshift wall towards the doorway where you guys were entering. You were able to move past this rubble, defeat the goblinoids pretty easy. Found that there were some more on the west side of the room, including a leader and another set of rubble or makeshift lumber in front of the narrow opening into that second room. You guys were able to eventually defeat those opponents and left one of the goblins alive, as once the leader was slain, this guy seemed to lose any desire to want to fight, so he quickly surrendered. He does speak in common. It's a little bit broken, but he essentially said he would stay here, wait for you guys to leave, and you guys agreed to essentially let him stay here for now because you didn't want him out there once you guys didn't know what you were doing exactly. But yeah, as you guys wrapped that up, you realized that you should probably be heading over to Proudglaive before too long, because your time, you want to make sure you have plenty of time to get there in case anything odd pops up along the way. So that is where we left off. So group, that's my quick recap. Is there anything that I missed that anybody would like to add?
Just that when we interrogated the goblin, he did tell us about a secret door that we think we had already found, and also like some weird magic that like dissolve people.
Yes, excellent addition. Go ahead and take inspiration for that, Hugo. Yes, that goblinoid did explain that there was, you guys indicated had you, a secret door. He said, did you find the one already up there? You guys think that's the same one you have already found. But yes, he explained all the way at the top where the tanks were that contained this sort of acid, and there was a lot of leakage there. He had explained that one of the goblinoids in their party was kind of making their way that way, got stuck in something, and just essentially dissolved pretty quickly. So yeah, good addition. Anything else to add to the recap?
They also mentioned that they were trying to learn about the void for the person they were there for.
Yes, you can take inspiration for that as well, Grask. So indeed, there was some books that were discovered in the footlocker in the second chamber, and it was in pretty bad shape. You were pretty sure these books came from the library that you guys have already been in a couple times, and those books tend to be much worn down. But yeah, there was indeed some rough mentions of the void, and what exactly that means, no one really knows. But it seemed as though this goblin leader had some kind of fascination with it, and that's why he was collecting these books.
I will say the inn that we're supposed to meet Rex at is the Yellow Dragon within 1 week's time. And then also Zula. Is it Zula or Zulu?
Zula.
Zula. Also gave us the name, well, I guess gave Basan the name of the gnome spellcaster as Kagath Z. And then she also asked if I could bring her back that large metallic plate off the chest of one of those servants. So
excellent addition as well. Yeah, go ahead and take
Yep.
inspiration there as well, Basan. And yes, several details there added. And yes, Zula seemingly looking for, I think it was even asked to her, is there any way or anything you need that I could bring back for you, is the way Basan asked it of her. And yes, she said a plate from one of these, I forget exactly how she framed it, but you guys were able to deduce it's not one of the mechanical men that you've spotted so far. She said, no, they're much larger, and you will know them when you see them, kind of situation. Yes, meeting Rex at the Yellow Dragon. That is the inn over in Proudglaive that he said was in a little bit rougher area of town and not necessarily, patrolled frequently by the authorities, that sort of thing. So yeah, great additions. That's 3 so far. Inspirations. Jolly, do you want to go for 4? Did you remember anything?
Did you mention the potions that they've had?
Did not.
Goblins? Yeah, it seems like they'd been stealing from the alchemists, so we got a nice assortment of potions.
Excellent. Yes, go and take inspiration as well, Jolly. So yes, part of the treasure that you guys discovered here in the second room, both in the footlocker and then some tucked away in the furs that they were sleeping on, were some potions that they seemingly had lifted from the alchemist that you guys have already slain, and maybe around in the room. And it seemed as though these goblinoids were sort of underfoot. They're stealthy enough that they can move about and do what they wanted to do without being detected. And they were hidden in these hidden rooms, and that door was very hard to find. So yes, good addition there as well. Great job, team. Everybody got inspiration today. Excellent. All right, so we actually ended off on the second floor of the Scarlet Citadel, and we will start back up there. And like I say, you guys certainly, if you choose, can make a quick beat for back to the Village of Red Tower to head to Proudglaive, unless there's any last minute stuff you wanted to do here.
We short rested, correct, inside of this little.
Yep, I think so.
Okay, I didn't roll my hit dice for it, so I'm gonna roll those now.
Yes, you did qualify for a short rest. So anybody that wanted to take one, just make sure you burn that, and then feel free to use your hit dice. Or actually, scrolling up a little bit here, it looks like Hugo and Basan did their short rest. So the two of you guys should have one short rest less than you have showing in your display. And then feel free to go ahead and roll your hit dice there, Basan.
Yeah, I think I said I wanted it, but I never did the mechanics behind it, so I'll adjust now.
Yeah, and I lowered mine on my name.
Excellent.
I have temporary hit points. Those would be gone now, right?
No, those actually last until the next long rest, unless otherwise specified by the ability.
Cool.
When the goblin was describing the dissolving stuff, did he make it seem like it was like a invisible magical thing, or was it just the acid like on the ground?
No, more like the first one. He explained that it seemed as though this goblin that was in his party was walking and then found himself like stuck in midair and just started dissolving.
Okay, so in that case, Hugo will take 10 minutes, I think, and ritually cast Detect Magic.
Okay.
Look around and it'll be like, just in case there's invisible dissolving things, I'd like to be able to see them if possible. So I can detect that sort of thing now.
That was a cool trick.
It is cool.
I wonder if that is there to protect something behind it. It's sort of weird that it's just a random place unless it's just a trap.
Well, based off of the experiences that you guys have described to me, I think it was that room that you can enter from either side. Like the room that was next to the pink lightning room, right? With the desk in it.
Yeah, I think that's what it is too. Do you mind if we take a peek on our way out? Just so I can see what it looks like. Detect magic wise.
Sure. Before we set out, is there anyone that wants to hold on to these potions? Or should I just keep them all together?
We got that bag, right? I would just put them in the bag for now, unless someone has a use for one.
Sure. I guess I could take the bag off of Renard's shoulder here and fill them up full of the potions.
Perfect.
Is there a bag of holding sheet?
Think so. There's been stuff that's been posted in the chat before, but probably on his character sheet, I'm guessing. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, how is he doing that where you could add it to chat?
I think it might be on his sheet. For now, though, Adam, we're gonna say that we're gonna put those potions in that bag of holding that we have, and the vial of slipperiness and all of that, potion of healing and whatnot.
Okay, so for now, what I'll do is okay, what I'll do is does somebody want to volunteer to maintain the bag of holding?
Bassane just did.
Yeah, I have no problem doing it because I'm already kind of doing the treasure, so I don't mind just doing the bag of holding as well. That'll make sure everything's nice and tidy.
Okay, so we'll make this. I'll just copy the same kind of setup that Renaud had here for now, and then if you want to do this a different way, Basan, feel free to do so. But for now, I'll just copy and paste this to your sheet.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Adam.
Yes, no problem at all. Okay, this will be listed over in your the abilities.
I see it.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, popped right up. That was cool. All right, I'm gonna copy and paste and add those things now. And just for my clarification, didn't Jolly say she was taking the poisoned stuff.
Oh, poison stuff would be great.
Yes, and just for clarification on that, the vial of poison, obviously you can definitely take that. The arrows that are poisoned and the short sword that's poisoned, generally poison dries up very quickly, so unless you use that within at maximum an hour, you can assume that poison will have dried up.
Oh, bummer. What if I spit on it? Hairball.
Keep
Yeah, I
it
don't know.
lubricated.
Unless that's some kind of tabaxi ability I don't know about, but I don't think so.
Well, quick, stab something.
The goblin looks very nervous.
You know how to make this poison, Barack?
He looks back towards you and shakes his head no.
So where'd you get it?
Boss man, he knew how to do it, yeah, but you killed him.
Yes, we did.
I just want to remind you that I tried to come in with my hands up and be calm.
I just want to remind you that I said he was an asshole. He was terrible.
I guess that's fair.
All right,
So,
Barack, we're about to leave here. Are you going to come with us to the outside world?
No, I think it's fine. You guys go. Just give me a little bit, and then I'll make my way out of here too. You all make way too much noise for me. I can be real quiet and stay to the ground.
so before we leave, is there any other secret chambers other than the one you told us up north? Anything you've discovered about this level? I mean, do you go down to level 3 at all?
Not so far. No. I don't know of any other secret chambers. No.
Well, we should be off, Hugo, before your eyes no longer see magic.
That's true. I'll look over the goblin real quick just to make sure he's not wearing anything magic.
He is not.
He's clean. All right, Barack. One more question. Was your boss working for another person?
Yeah, but not from here.
Where was the other person from?
Are you familiar with Thurazor?
I don't think so.
It's a long way away, but that's where we came from. It's a bunch of different syndicates that are all connected, but that's where they're from.
Wow. These void things are worth that much, huh?
He shrugs. I don't know why he wanted that stuff.
All right. Well, this might be the luckiest day of your life, Barack. Once we leave, you're free to go.
He seems very happy at that idea.
I thought we were going to keep him.
Nah. He might turn on us when we least expect it. I would not trust him.
But you don't trust anybody.
I trust you, for now.
Exactly. All right, let's go.
All right, as you make your way away, you guys sort of knew this was coming based on previous discussions, but Renaud explains to you guys that he will make his way back to the village of Red Tower and leave you here for now. So he has given over the bag of holding. Is there anything else special that you would want to take off of Renaud before he makes his exit?
His identify pearl.
Does somebody else on the team have the ability to cast Identify?
No, but if we have the ingredient, it would be easier to find someone else to cast this for us, and I'm sure Hugo can figure it out. Doesn't he have it in his spell book to copy and learn?
No, I mean, I'd have to learn that one, sort of from scratch. Might take me a while, unless we find a scroll with it.
So I think Renaud's going to push back on that idea because he doesn't want to give away his cool stuff.
I guess that's fair, yeah.
What
that's all I
potions
can think
did
of.
he have in his belt?
I don't think he has anything of real significance. He has, let's see, the Dust of Somnolence. He does have that.
I don't
That
care
might
about
come
the
in
rest.
handy. Well, we're about to go to a place with like commoners and villagers. We might be able to knock some people out if we need to get out of a situation that's sticky.
Okay, he will be willing to hand that over. So if somebody wants to add the Dust of Somnolence on their sheet, you can do so.
I'll add it.
Perfect.
Okay, and then he's really worried about getting robbed further. From there, he's making a quick retreat out of here.
Wait, no, I want your tunic.
So, Jolly, if you ever need to make someone sleepy, I think you throw that dust in their face or something.
Got it. I'm not finding it in the compendium.
This may have been one of the unique things to the module, but I know I have it written down here somewhere. I can. I'll give you this the spelling of it for now.
Last time we were here, the barrels and crates had stuff in them. What are in these barrels right here?
Odd bits of food. Think of this as being preserved food, and then water.
One of them had wine, right? Was it a barrel in the other room?
Barrel of wine. I don't recall there being a barrel of wine close by here. I know there was, I think, on the first floor.
I have a particularly naughty idea. Does anybody want to hear? There was that
Certainly.
vial of poison we received, and here's some barrels of food and water. Trolls gotta eat, you know? What if we sent them some poisoned food and water?
They heal. Won't do anything.
Yeah, the only thing is we don't know who else could come down here to and try that. I mean, it might work, but...
Well, poison is not always about causing damage, so to say. You know, sometimes it affects your vitality, it could affect your vision, your stamina.
Yeah,
You know,
it
if
probably
they-
would make this stuff inedible, too, in the long run, so...
Just an idea.
I'm reluctant to not deliver the poison myself to the.
Yeah, we may get more use and a more targeted use of it, but I don't know. I'll leave it up to you. It's sort of a grey area for me.
Well, in my studies, I've multiple different sieges and warfares between different groups. Yeah, poison is usually an excellent tactic to weaken your enemies before a fight.
It looks like I have possibly 3 vials at this point, maybe 4. So I'd be willing to give up 1.
Well, we know that the trolls already make their way up here. Maybe if we placed a barrel of food and water, maybe with just poisoned water, right by the entrance, maybe inconspicuously, but on purpose, they would take it and use it for themselves. Even we could try to communicate and say, hey, look, a truce. Here's some food, water, let us pass.
So I'd say as you're describing this plant, I think we asked this before, but nobody has proficiency in Poisoner's Kit, right?
Correct.
No, I don't think think anybody took that.
Okay, so I guess what I would say is it's probably you wonder how effective poison would be. Like if you were to take a single vial of poison and then put it into a full barrel of water, that would obviously dilute the poison significantly. How effective would it still be at that point? That's probably something that runs through your mind as you're thinking of this plan.
Just an idea.
I think we should bake them something delicious and put it in that.
Might not be effective when eaten either.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess we just stick to the plan of setting them on fire, huh?
Either way, if we're going to Blurnclave, they'd have time to heal it off.
Something to think about for when we return.
And Hugo's just scanning for magic as much as he can.
Oh, yeah, Hugo, do you want to go through the hallway or the,
Yeah, let's check out the Wall of Death.
The room he mentioned.
Yeah, do you want
Yeah.
to go this way or do you want to go through the other entrance?
I guess the top way.
Right there?
Yeah.
Out of character for a sec. I think he said it was in this hallway we're about to enter, if I remember right.
Yeah, but I think it's where the green stuff is on the ground, right?
He said like near the casks of ooze. All right. Should be around here, right?
Yeah, last time you guys only went as far as the ladder, as I recall you telling me.
We told you a lot already. Man. So Hugo's scanning around for this whatever, the disintegration beam.
You do not detect any magic in this area, and you don't see anything.
Don't go further.
And where do these ladders lead to again?
So each ladder goes upwards, where you can see that there is a tank on either side of the hall here. So on the north and the south, those are two tanks, and you can see obviously that there is a slight crack on the northern tank, and that's where this sort of spilled amount of green liquid on the ground is coming from.
Could you give me the description of what the goblin said about the door again? Maybe I can find it.
Oh, I don't know if it's a door. He just said it was an area that, like, the thing got his friend got stuck and then just started melting away. So if I don't see it here, I don't think I'm gonna go any further because that sounds like a horrible way to die.
Are we sure that's not about that cube that you mentioned? Remember that cube you found?
I think he clarified between the two.
Yeah, the goblin said it wasn't the same thing, but then again, maybe that cube had been someplace else, earlier or something. I don't know. Not worth the risk.
So should we disembark and make our way to Proudglaive?
Yes.
Yeah, Grass got a tournament to win.
It'll be nice to be back in civilization.
Yeah.
Okay. So safe to say you guys are going to make your way through this door and then take the stairs up to the first floor and then try to exit out of here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Except for try, we're just gonna do it.
Okay, so I'm going to ask for blind checks here for everybody as you're making your way out. Okay, Hugo and Jolly, as you guys open this door and then start making your way through and get towards the stairs and start to head up, you get this strange sensation, almost like the hairs on the back of your neck sticking up. A cold shiver kind of runs through you as you look around, seeing if there's any obvious signs of this. You do not see anything.
Be careful. Those shadow things might be around.
More of them.
Here, Grass, come here. And Hugo will cast protection from good and evil on Grass.
All right, feel free to burn that.
Oh, I already subtracted it from my ammo.
Okay.
I'll make it 0.
You, the new one.
Yes.
Is that me or her?
You gotta be more specific, Grass. There's more than one new one this time.
That one.
He points to Jolly.
Are your weapons silvered?
My rapier is.
Good.
Although now I think I'm remembering that it didn't matter.
That is correct. You discovered that last time. All right, you guys make your way up the stairs, keeping your eyes peeled for any signs of other shadows, but you do not see any. And you make your way through the first level back towards the primary exit, not running into anything out of the ordinary, getting out, climbing, getting back to the ruins, not seeing anything out of the ordinary there, and make your way away from the Scarlet Citadel and back on the open plains. All right, guys. So as you're here, you know it's about a 2.5 hour walk back to the village of Red Tower. You make that walk back. Anything special you're doing other than just traveling there?
I don't think so.
Okay, fair enough. So you guys make the way south, and yeah, you get back to the village of Red Tower with ease. Nothing unfortunate.
So guys, it's going to be a long trip on foot, but, there's stables right here on our way into town. Perhaps we stop, inquire about a few horses, maybe a carriage.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I think we should spend this writ that we have. Is the writ even good in Proudglaive?
Well, it kind of depends on who wrote the writ, but the Muddy Man seems to carry quite a prestigious name. However, I agree. We should use it while we got it.
Now, is any of you good at, like, making a disguise for someone? Well, that's a no.
Yeah,
Dang.
not my particular specialty, unfortunately.
Like hiding from an animal.
You could say that. I just, I came from Proudgrave. There's some stuff there that might crop up. So I'd rather just, avoid all the hassle and maybe look like somebody else.
Well, you could always go for a heavy cloak. But I could make you invisible before we enter. That always will help. But maybe once we get into town, there's somebody there that could help you better than we could. Or maybe here, even.
Coat yourself in dung to hide the stench.
Did you say
In what?
in dung.
Works every time.
I'll think about it. For now, I'll buy a heavy cloak.
All right, imagine you guys are chatting while you're making your way back, and you take your typical path around the pond and find yourself coming in through the gate of the Village of Red Tower, through the wall. Once again, spotting a guard there who just gives you that perfunctory nod, acknowledging your presence as you pass in and find yourself inside the wall.
Should we horse shop now?
Yeah, maybe we stop and inquire.
There may be other parties en route. Might be able to hitch a ride.
Instead of purchasing, I want to know what the going rate is. I guess I could look it up.
My experience with riding horses is, depending on the caretaker and the breed, of course, can run anything from 60 to 100 gold pieces a horse.
So what I will mention here mechanically, this is something I've always found odd when it comes to horses, but horses for a short span of time, up to an hour, they can move a lot faster, of course, than your standard walking speed. So they can gallop for about an hour, covering twice the usual distance for a fast pace. But once that's done, then they have to slow down significantly, catch their breath, that sort of thing. So the basic idea is that if you have fresh mounts every 8 to 10 miles, like if you were basically riding along a road where there was cities or villages all along the way that had horses that you could continually swap to, then you could move at very high speed. If not, then after that first hour of galloping, you kind of slow down. You have to wait a significant period of time before you gallop again. So you do get some speed benefit, but it's not like it's not like it halves your travel time or anything.
What if you ride one horse absolutely to its death and exhaustion? How far can you get in one day?
Not nearly as far as you'd think, because after that hour, if you were to say, "Oh, I'm going to keep galloping," then basically I'm trying to remember exactly the cadence, but every so often you have to check for exhaustion. And yeah, I think it's 7 levels of exhaustion, the horse would die.
I go through like 10 horses a week, guys.
I don't think like people really, like rode horses for speed a lot unless it was for specific battles. I think most of the time with journeys, it was for exhaustion purposes. So can a horse outlast us with exhaustion? Like, like if we are riding, doesn't the horse get tired instead of us?
Yes.
Yeah, so.
But keep it in mind that you can travel 8 hours without getting exhaustion. So the horse works on the same rules. So if you were to ride the horse, you aren't getting exhausted. But after that 8 hours, the horse would start to get exhausted. So unless, again, you're willing to try to, really beat the horse in to try to get further, you're not going to make... I think high level, it's just be understanding that adding a horse is not going to be a significant increase in your speed is all I'm getting at.
Shoot, with the money we got, I was thinking about a couple of horses, getting a carriage.
You could, and obviously there's other benefits to that, right? Where you can plan or discuss things inside, right? There you would have more storage, there's those kind of benefits. But like I said, I know a lot of times when D&D players think of horses, or at least I hear this a lot of times, like, oh, we'll get a horse and we'll get there in half the time. And it's like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah, no, horses are still alive,
We'd also look cool arriving.
I like the cart idea. Or the, wagon.
Yeah. A carriage would be that way. Any rain or anything like that. I don't know if they have carriages here for us to purchase.
There'll be a big blow up for old Hugo.
Yeah, Basan likes the finer things in life.
What can I say? I also walked on my feet for a long, long way to get here.
Well, let's price this all out with your little piece of paper.
I mean, it depends. Do we want riding horses or draft horses? You know, horses for drafting purposes obviously carry things.
Well, I feel like if we're pulling something, we should probably go with the draft, right?
Yeah, whatever's good for pulling a carriage.
And then probably 2 draft horses would be enough to pull 1 carriage.
All right, let's talk to the stableman.
All right, you guys back just a little out here and make your way over to the stables. When you get here, you can see it seems to be populated primarily by young men. So it looks like there are 4 young men kind of chatting here as they're brushing down a couple of horses, and you can hear bits of conversation as you sort of turn the corner and face them, and you notice one of the kids sort of looks up towards you. Are you here to stable your horse? You don't have a horse.
Astute observation. We're here to purchase a few horses. We're intending to travel to Proudclave. We're also inquiring about a carriage, if you know where to buy one.
A carriage? We don't get much of that. You could ask at the town hall, I guess. Maybe they'd have something.
Okay. And do you have any horses for sale?
Well, most of the horses that we get are other people's horses. I think we've got 3 that belong to the village, though. You'd have to speak to the constable to see if he'd be willing to sell.
Okay. Where do we find the constable?
At the town hall also.
Fantastic. The town hall, the building across the street from the inn,
Yeah.
and the constable's name?
Roche.
Fantastic, fantastic. And if we were to be able to purchase these horses and a carriage or a cart of some sort, could we bring them to you to saddle it and prepare it for our journey?
Yeah,
Okay, then,
we
of
could
course.
do that.
Fantastic. What is your name, young man?
Velber.
Fantastic, Velva. I am Basan. Let us go inquire with the constable and see what we can do. Thank you.
You got it.
I'll turn around and walk back to everybody and say, doesn't look like they have many horses for sale, but it does sound like that there's a chance we could perhaps rent a couple from the town hall. We intend to come back, so I don't see why that would be an issue.
Works for me.
All right. You seem like you're good at talking to people.
Well, my mother always said that manners are important. That's kind of why I love the lizard folk. They tend to have a different set of manners.
I like talking to people, but sometimes they focus too much on my appearance.
Yeah, me too.
Oh. People can be cruel. Well, let's go speak to this constable. Have you all visited the town hall yet?
Nope.
No.
Kept out of trouble.
You don't only visit the town hall if you're trouble, Grask. It's where you meet people of high authority. Let's go. I'm sure we can meet somebody who may help us in the future as well.
All right, as you make your way up to the town hall, passing by this little road and passing by the ruined temple there just by you, you head into the main entrance of the town hall. You can see this is a governmental building, so think like receptionist kind of thing. There's 2 ladies inside that are working the desks at front. You can hear and see folks moving about. Almost all of them just completely ignore you, though. It's not exactly packed, but there's a fair number of people inside. But as you approach and see one of these ladies at the desk, you see she raises her head. Can I help you?
Hi, madam. Yes. My friends and I were at the stables inquiring about purchasing some horses, and they said that they didn't have any horses for sale, but the village did have a few horses that they used for various things. we were told to speak with the constable about perhaps using them.
And you see she gives you a slight smile. When did you get into town? I don't think I've seen you before.
Oh, you're charming, madam. No, yes, I arrived recently and then immediately went to the Citadel with the group that's been going down quite recently. We just got back, in fact.
Oh, so you're one of the adventuring types then, hmm?
I guess you could say so, yes. But I prefer to study and learn the historical significance of the Citadel. And it's always nice to have strong friends, right?
Give me a blind check here.
Can I use my inspiration to give you a little advantage?
You can, yeah.
Sure, let's do it.
And did you have your token selected for that?
I thought I did, but let me try again. Did that work?
I'm not seeing anything. Let me just make sure. Oh, there we go. Now it came through.
Cool. Might come through 2 times because I did the same thing twice, but maybe the
It
first one
did.
glitched.
Yeah, I think I was
Yeah.
having a little bit of
Yeah.
lag because both of them shot through now.
I saw everybody disappeared on roll 20 for me for a second there.
They
too.
did for me too. Okay, I thought that was my network or something, but it must have been a roll 20 blip. So your choice here, since both of them came through, would you like to take the first set or the second set?
Both are at advantage, huh? I may ask my wife.
No pressure.
She said second, so I'm gonna trust her. We're gonna go with the second.
Smart lady. Yeah. Okay. So you're going to notice that the receptionist looks on at you with a little bit of a smile on her face, and she says, "Oh, okay. Well, just so you know, when you speak with the constable, don't let him know you're an adventurer." And then you see she realizes that you're with a lizard folk and a tabaxi and a hardened-looking warrior kind of guy, and she says, "It might be hard to pull that off, but he's not really fond of adventurers, and well, he likes to, watch the adventurers and see if they, slip up or break some kind of laws. He's really, really fond of arresting adventurers."
Maybe I step in alone?
That might work.
Is he in? Could I do that? I'm sure my friends would understand.
I think he is. Just a moment. And you see she steps up and walks down this small hallway off of the main lobby area. 30 seconds or so later, she comes back and she nods and she says, "He's in. He could see you."
Can we
How
say
did-
during that 30 seconds I went and told the group that I was going to go speak to the constable. It's best for me to sit back because he likes to arrest adventurers.
Sure.
Out of character, who was it that charged us the fee to go into the Citadel when we first arrived?
Yes, that was Vernon, the tax collector.
Ah, okay.
And you would assume, you probably wouldn't know, but out of character, I think you guys would connect that Vernon obviously is associated with the town government, so he's likely has an office here at Town Hall.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. So when she comes back, I'll just, go into the direction that she informed me.
Okay, yeah, she points you down a direction, a hall, and as you make your way down there, you notice this kind of small silver placard that has Constable Roche listed on it. And as you step through the doorway here, this threshold, you see an older man, maybe in his 50s or so, dressed in a little bit of informal attire, I guess you could say, but it kind of has this functionary look to it. Obviously wearing an armor of sorts. He's not currently grasping onto a sword, but he looks like he is definitely battle hardened, you could say. You notice this prominent scar on his face that seems to be arced in a couple of directions. As you enter, you notice deep brown hair and eyebrows that look very heavy and very adamant as he raises his head and he looks towards you. "I'm told that you need to speak to me. What is it that I could do for you?"
Ah, yes, constable. And I'll close the door behind me and have a big smile on my face and turn around and say, "My name is Basan, I hope you are well today, and I definitely hope that I'm not disturbing you at a valuable time. But, I am traveling to Proudglaive to compete in the local tournament, and the stables did not have any horses for me to purchase. I was told that you have some for the village. I do intend to come back here once I finish, because I'm currently studying the local ley lines and void of magic in the area.
You see, he raises an eyebrow as he looks towards you. Traveling to the tournament. You seem to have traveled far already. Unless my eyes deceive me, you are of Kanasi origin, are you not?
Astute observation, Constable. There's a reason you have your position. Indeed, I have traveled very far. I actually spent some time in Markazar as well, and made my way all the way across from there to here now.
As you
But,
say Markazor, you notice this distasteful look just passes his face momentarily, as though he was not able to hide it from appearing there. And you see he just kind of like clears his mouth, as though trying to get a bad taste out of his mouth, as he looks at you once again. You've traveled quite far and had some interesting destinations. You say you're looking for ley lines here. I assume this must have something to do with the Scarlet Citadel?
Well, yes, but as you know, ley lines travel quite far, and they have multiple ways of presenting themselves to us. And if you know about Markazar, based on how your face reacted when I said it, you can understand why I would like a horse for me and my companions for the safety of our travels.
But you're not in Markazor now.
That is correct, but with a tournament about, lots of money are traveling along the roads, meaning lots of people think that they can take advantage of those people. I'm sure you know this.
That's probably the smartest thing you've said so far. How many horses of mine did you hope to obtain?
Well, it depends on if you have a cart or carriage I could use as well. We have some gear that we need to bring with us.
You see he eyes you as though seeing you maybe for the first time. It's sort of a top-down, looks at your face, looks at your attire, his eyes kind of going down. You almost get the sort of impression of somebody calculating the net worth of everything that you currently have on you as he raises his eyes back to meet yours. I assume you have the coin to cover the expenditure of a cart and horses?
Of course, both in writ form and in actual gold form, kind of depending on your preference of how you like to be paid, Constable.
A writ from whom?
My friend said his name was the Money Man. It appears that he's part of the reason why we're going to the tournament. I'm personally competing in the archery event.
You see a bit of maybe mild surprise crosses his face here as well. And then he nods slowly as he leans forward in his chair, putting his elbows onto his desk. I suppose we can make some arrangements for this. Are you looking to purchase the horses, or are you planning to bring them back here?
We plan on returning upon the tournament's ending, so yes, we could easily bring them back to you, and if something were to happen on our travels, we could pay you for losing them.
I see. Well, as you are an unknown figure here, my friend, I'm afraid a substantial down payment to ensure that the village is made whole should the horses not be returned or something terrible befall you, along with the cart. I suppose something in the realm of 500 gold pieces would be sufficient to secure 2 horses and the cart. Should you return all in good shape, I can refund 300 of that gold back to you.
That sounds incredibly generous, and I accept.
This will probably be the easiest transaction I've had to deal with all day, then. I appreciate your expediency. Let us see this writ.
The writ does not have that much gold on it. What about instead if I just pay you in gold?
That's even easier.
So I will pull, I've got a pouch of gold on my hip, and I'll pull out and I'll separate 160 gold pieces and give him the rest, which would equate to 500.
Okay, he takes this from you, counting slowly, puts it in a large bag, and then you notice he kind of puts it down in a lockbox near the bottom. You can see him actually turn a key and so forth. And he says, looking back towards you, "How soon is it that you are leaving?"
What's the time of day, Adam? Is it, like afternoonish?
Yeah, late morning, early afternoon.
It would probably take us the rest of the day to gather what we need and then be off in the morning. Is that okay?
That's plenty sufficient. I'll make sure that the lads over at the stables have everything ready for you to go in the morning then.
Fantastic. And will you let them know that this is for Basan?
He nods his head. "I certainly will. I believe you will stick out well enough that it will not be questioned, but I will let them know."
Fantastic. And I wanted to let you know that the receptionist that you hired up front, extremely charming lady. She is a fantastic hire.
And you see he looks towards you once again. "I thought the same. I hired her myself. I appreciate the feedback."
All right. And I will smile and kind of give him a little bow and, take my exit.
And as you start opening the door and getting ready to exit, he says, "Basan." And I assume you sort of look back at this point and he says, "Good luck on the tournament. I hope you do well in the archery competition."
Thank you. I've been training for a long time, and I feel like it's a good opportunity for me to at least grow as an archer, even if I don't win.
"It shall test your skills, certainly. I look forward to hearing how you've done when you return."
And then I'll exit.
All right.
All right, and then I'll make my way to my group and kind of usher them out, because I don't want him to come out and kind of see us all standing together. Change his mind in a hurry.
Okay, so yeah, I imagine you kind of push back out, and safe to say, group, while you guys are waiting for Basan's return, nothing in particular that you're wanting to do, just kind of waiting for him to get back?
Hugo will buy like a heavy hooded cloak that he can wear.
Sure, you can find that for sale at the Cage Tavern and Inn. Heavy hooded cloak, no real mechanical impact here other than, being able to lower the hood. We'll call that 2 gold pieces.
Okay.
All right, so yes, as you get out of the town hall then, Basan, you find your group, and I imagine probably usher them over to the Cage Tavern and Inn, or are you trying to go somewhere more secluded?
No, that's fine. Just not in, the inside of the town hall,
All right, you make your way over to the Cage Tavern and Inn.
Well, everyone, the constable agreed with a down payment to allow us a cart and 2 of his horses, I believe. The stables will prepare it, and in the morning, we will be able to take off.
Very
Awesome.
cool.
Good.
Do you need any money for that?
Oh, no. It was only a deposit, so as long as everything goes okay and we bring the horses back and everything, we'll get the majority of the money back.
It's funny you mentioned money, Jolly. Could you perhaps spare me 2 gold?
Is this guy always begging?
But spells are expensive to copy. I'm a little short for this cloak over here.
Hugo, why don't you take the credit slip here and go get what you need? I assume we should all do the same before we leave.
That might be a bad idea. He's always gambling.
Me? No.
You're a gambler? You want me to give you gold?
I just needed to buy this cloak.
Are you broke?
A little bloke. But, so one of these potions, we're back on top.
All right, I'm giving you 2 gold, but it's just because my cloak has helped me hide my tail many a time. So,
All right, and you can watch him go over and buy it from the person. He comes back with it.
Yep, yeah, you check in with Ambrosi and let him know what you're looking for, and he gives you a nod, heads to the back, grabs a heavy cloak with a big heavy hood, and sells that to you for the 2 gold pieces.
Hugo,
Yeah, what's up?
who are you hiding from in Brookleaf? I thought you were looking for your brother.
No. That was Elliot.
Are you
Yeah,
sure?
I'm not looking for anyone there. But, things happen. Got a bit of a past there. So it's better just be a new person.
How many did you kill?
I lost count, Grask. I lost count. So, anyways, I'll just try to keep a low profile. And there's some people that might be able to help me there, but for the most part, I didn't make too many friends.
Should I? We have a mystery vial, right, in our possession.
It's an experimental potion of invulnerability. I think Renaud spent some time deciphering it.
But when we got the potions off the goblins, was the mystery vial the vial of oil of slipperiness, or was there like a mystery poison vial?
We got 3 vials off them. I think we identified them. I wrote down 2 poison, and I didn't get the other one.
I think I wrote them down right above.
Okay.
So there's a potion of growth, potion of thunder resistance, potion of healing, vial of oil of slipperiness, potion of greater healing, then 4 poison arrows, 1 poison short sword, 2 vials of poison, and then 1 vial of poison I don't recall is what Grass Group.
And as you guys have traveled from the Scarlet Citadel 2.5 hours, you can assume those poisoned arrows and poisoned blade, that poison is now dried up.
Cool. So we have 2 vials of poison, and I already had 1 in my possession, so I have 3 total.
And I would keep those separate because the poison that you have, I believe, is the basic poison from the PHB. Is that correct, Charlie?
Yes.
Okay, and then the poison that you found on these goblins is not necessarily that. I'll just even tell you it's not that same poison.
Ooh.
Did we identify the poison? Were they all 3 the same vial? Can I just say 3 vials of poison?
So I know. Let me just double check to be sure, but I think that is correct.
I wasn't sure if that third one was just the vial of oil of slipperiness.
That potion of thunder resistance, that we could sell that.
Yeah, I mean, see how much he'll give us for it. Seems like it's either 200 gold or like 20,000. So if it's 20,000, we're selling it.
Thunder is the kinetic part of lightning, right? Like there is lightning damage, and this is out of character because now I'm curious about what the heck thunder resistance actually means.
Well,
like
thunder wave. Damage.
Yeah, thunder wave. There's a couple of other abilities that do specifically thunder damage.
Yeah, I've always felt like thunder is very similar to force damage, but they separate it for some reason.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. So yes, the vials of poison that you found would all be the same from the goblins.
Okay.
Perfect. I'll just put down 3 vials of goblin poison.
I'm just
That'll
going to
work.
roll a thunder crit. I just want to see what options are for thunder crit.
Yeah, see what happens.
Thunderclap. Oh, stunned? Oh my gosh.
See, it kind of feels like it's like advanced bludgeoning.
Yeah,
That's
high
what I
level
mean.
force.
That's what I'm saying. It's so much like force, really, because the thunder. Yeah, you're hear thunder obviously in real life, but in D&D it's sort of like is a combination of like a sonic boom kind of thing.
Is there anything that Jolly needs in order to apply the goblin poison to any of her weapons?
No, but because you don't have proficiency with a poisoner's kit, what that means is when you try to apply a poison, there is a risk that you actually poison yourself. So using poisons effectively is actually quite challenging, and getting that proficiency is what helps you with that process.
Yikes.
You need to find you a poisoner's book and read it for +1 skill point,
Yeah, that would be cool.
like Skyrim style.
Is there a library around here?
If it makes you feel any better, though, there's antitoxin in the bag of holding, so in case you accidentally poison yourself, you can heal yourself.
That is good. There is a library. It's on the other end of a time machine that had a giant dinosaur guarding it. So
Every time you say that, sounds so ridiculous.
You should imagine me
that's
telling
amazing.
my family and friends that a time-traveling dinosaur ate my hedgehog.
Welcome to D&D! I mean, that potion of ooze friendship, we could probably see if we could sell the potion of ooze friendship and then the potion of thunder resistance.
I'm not hard up for coin, so...
I mean, I'm not either, but we could always hold them and then try to sell them in Proudglaive, which would probably have more expensive stores for us to shop in. So,
That's true.
buy some magic items or something, you know?
Did Ambrosi ever end up selling the like books and like research stuff that we gave him?
I thought you guys decided to keep that, didn't you?
I thought we gave him the notes, but we have all of the potion components to sell.
Yeah, we kept the potion components, and then we also, in this thing, it says shorthand coded notes, which is what I think we got off of Kagath Z. So I think the remaining of the books and stuff that we had taken with, that was all in that discernible language, we did give to Ambrosi.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was like part of the overall deal to like just wipe it clean, or if that was like a separate thing. Because I do have something went to an academic at the University of Anweir, but that might have been the potions.
Nope, that would have been... So in the actual module it says, all the books, scrolls, and notes in this area, plus stray notes, blah, 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 would fetch some money from an alchemist or wizard's college or from an ambitious practitioner of alchemy. So that's what you guys took to Ambrosi, and he said he found a buyer from the University of Anweir.
Okay. I can't remember if he gave us money or not, but he probably did if he found the buyer. So
I feel like he did, because usually I have a little scratch area in my OneNote where, like, if there's like an outstanding thing, I write it there, and it's clear right now. So
Hugo's just broke. I'm looking for every angle here. Let's go. All right, Basan. Why don't you try to sell these 2 potions, unless anyone really wants them. But let's see what we can get for them.
All right, so I'll reach my hand down into the bag of holding at him, and I'll think about the 2 potions that I need to grab, the Thunder Resistance and the Ooze Friendship, and I will take them with me up to the desk, or bar.
okay, yeah, and to speed this up a little bit so as not to become another shopping episode, you're trying to sell both of these potions. You said Thunder Resistance and Ooze Friendship.
Correct. I just looked up Thunder Resistance. It's uncommon.
Okay, perfect. So roll me 2d6. So he will offer you 350 gold for both of them.
Like each or just all together?
All together.
That sounds good. That was in between Hugo's recommendation of 20 and 20,000, so we'll go with 350. We'll assume that that's okay for him.
All right, deduct those 2 potions, and you can add 350 gold.
I'll give the 350 gold to Hugo.
Oh. Well, this belongs to all of us.
We don't want to have you asking us for money anymore.
What about you, Grask?
Don't gamble it all away.
I don't know. I'm probably going to spend it on inks and paper, honestly.
Oh, I have 10 pieces of blank parchment here.
I think it needs to be special wizard paper. That's what the merchant keeps charging me for.
He's gonna gamble it for sure.
That does sound suspicious, Grask, you're right. But whatever, it's your money.
Listen, it's true. I swear. Anyways,
Chris,
thank you
I
for
just
this.
got here, but I'm pretty sure Sebastian was a gambler.
He was looking for his brother.
Oh, yes, that's right. Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
So,
This
before our
I was going to say,
journey
this is where
tomorrow...
we find out that grass can't tell humans apart. They all look alike to him.
Before we leave for tomorrow, while we're here, does anybody have anything specific that we need to buy? Any specific provisions or anything?
Rations in general.
Sure. We'll buy a handful of rations. I've noticed there's a cask of high-proof alcohol in this bag. We could drink that on the way.
That's for the trolls.
You're-
Burnham?
Oh, okay. You went a different way than I did, Jolly. I was thinking you were going to drink with the trolls.
But saying you want to make friends with everyone.
Well, you never know.
You know when they're trying to kill you.
Oh, yes, and usually at that point I'm very familiar with, but, you know, I like to give people somewhat of a benefit of the doubt. But if we don't need anything too crazy, just some rations, we can buy those on our way out in the morning, and, yeah. I look forward to participating in upcoming adventures.
Yeah, I don't need anything else. I'm going to copy one of these spells tonight, though.
Maybe I should pick up some more arrows, I guess. I don't really know what else to get.
Well, there's 40 arrows here in the bag.
Oh, sweet. I'll take some of those.
Yeah, I'll give you a quiver, and I'll reach in and I'll pull out an entire quiver of arrows for you. It's 20.
Awesome. Thanks. You never have too many of those.
All right. Well, let's get some food in our bellies, some beverage, get a good night's sleep, and be off in the morning to Proudglaive.
Good.
All right, unless anybody is opposed, we can fast forward to the morning. You guys can add anything from the PHP that you wanted to add, and obviously, Hugo, you'll have that time to add a spell if that's what you choose to do based on the expenses from the PHP, and we can sort of fast forward to the part where you guys are leaving Village of Red Tower.
Sounds good.
Our sweet ass new carriage.
Excellent. All right. So yes, you guys make it to the morning of the next day. You have stopped by the stables. There are 2 draft horses there in the morning for you, tied to a cart. Now keep in mind, a cart has an open top, right? So the horses are pulling this cart behind them, and you guys can sit. I would say you probably could all fit in there, but it's a little bit tight when you're trying to all be in the cart at the same time. But you can certainly do that if you like.
I think at some points Hugo's just like walking alongside of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I figure throughout the journey we'll probably trade places of riding and walking. That way everybody's, got a good energy about them.
Okay, fair enough. So we will assume then the horses are out front taking the cart with them, and you guys are sort of alternating sitting on the cart or just kind of walking along. Okay, so you guys have a rough idea of how long this trip is going to take you to get to Proudglaive. You know it's a multiple day journey just based on the distance alone. So I'm going to assume that your plan is to take the most likely route, which would be get out to the main road, make your way down the main road, passing all the way through the province of Dwerlin, and then taking the Spider River Way all the way straight up to Proudglaive. That would be sort of the most direct route. Is that what you guys would like to take, or is there any alterations you'd like to make in this chart?
I don't know if we have enough time to do any detours, do we?
So you do. So you guys have like 7 days until the tournament. It is going to take you a little over, I think it's just over 3 days to get there.
Okay.
Let's check out Great Bridge. I've heard great things about Great Bridge.
Yeah, Spider River Way is not giving me any good vibes there with the axes, but I know that's just a legend, but still.
Yes, that's where a battle was fought some years ago.
Wait, so where is... Oh, Proudglaive would be this little...
Yeah, the glowing
castle
kind of...
thing.
Yeah, you got it.
If we pass any sort of... And I'm not sure how big this river is, but any sort of, like, harbors, that's where Jolly's most comfortable, so she would probably want to poke around.
Okay,
Any
yeah, on
sort of
this
wharf-like areas.
yeah, on this river specifically, you don't think you're going to find anything like that. As you make your way further out west, definitely Proudglaive would have something like that. Just eyeballing the map, there's not anything really close by that would qualify as like a harbor or a wharf, unless you're willing to go. Yeah, as far as I would say Proudglaive honestly is probably the closest one. The location, even at like Mienum Falls here, would be kind of the opposite way, and that's at the very end of the river, so there really wouldn't be much of a harbor there.
I mean, I don't think any of us are outside or are too familiar with, alternate routes, but I mean that way looks pretty cool. We do pass a handful of things, and if we got a few days where we won't be late, I couldn't imagine us not checking a few things out here or there, but I'm speaking mostly out of Dylan being curious.
I'm scared for you, Adam, because this is like the DM's nightmare where we say, no, we want to go, we're going to the Elven Meres, right? You don't have an Elven Meres map. I am going to bet that you don't have an Elven Meres map ready.
I do not. But what I will say is that Elven Meres, I can't imagine any reason why you would go that way. But if you were to say, for example, you wanted to go, something more like this and then cross this way and then come back to Proudglaive, that's, you're still basically traveling on road the whole way. It just takes you a little bit longer to get there. So I will say, yes, I'm assuming you guys are trying to make the most direct route. But if there's something that catches your interest and you might want to take note of it, it might not be something where there's like a full adventure designed for you there. But if it's something that catches your eye and you're like, oh, that's interesting, we should come back, then that's sort of setting seeds for things down the road.
I mean, I'd say Hugo wants to go in a direct route where they can rest at a town in the nighttime. You know what I mean?
So you'll be able to do that sometimes, but unless you're willing to really slow down your travel. So, like, for example, your first like town would be about 15 miles away, so that would be about 5 hours of travel. So if you were willing to call it short and then stay here that night, you could do so. If you traveled further, you would have to go an additional, what's that? About 8, no, even longer than that. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to get to the next town in a single day. So if you're willing to cut it as like, only basically travel for 5 hours to get here approximately, and then the next day you could travel 12 miles. So that would be 3, 6, 9, that'd be 4 hours to get you into another village. You could do something like that. But again, like this part of the travel, you're probably not going to be able to stop at a town. You're probably going to have to sleep out in the rough. I know it's one of those things where there's so many options that it's almost like decision paralysis in a way.
Well, Proudglade is where the action's at. So I say we take a direct, safe route to Proudglade and see what's there.
Grask might be interested, if it's like not too far off the way, to see what the battlefield looks like. Like what do the armies of men look like? If he can get a gauge from that, what are the battlefields on the map here? Are they just large flat areas?
They're where historical battles took place. So you would visit there. There's not necessarily going to be soldiers there unless it's, for some reason of something significance. But historically, you would know like, oh, this is where the battle of this took place and this side fought that side. It might be something of significance like, if you were some kind of historian that wanted to like go through the battlefield and see if you could find any artifacts in the ground and pieces of metal maybe from the soldiers that fought those years ago, that kind of thing, you might be able to find something like that. But you shouldn't necessarily expect too much of like an action kind of thing.
No, that's fine then.
Okay, so then I'm going to assume for where you're at now, the most likely way is going to basically take you on the West Road. And once we get to a spot that if anybody wants to divert, just let me know. But I'm going to assume you basically are going to go like this, get out to the main road. So you're moving south out of the village of Red Tower with all of your stuff, cart in tow with your horses, and then making your way along this path.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right, excellent. So you guys are riding through this area. As you can see on the map, it's fairly open, but there is a little bit of like brush and stuff. You're kind of close to the water there, so there's a little bit of hills on or actually farmlands is what depicts there. A little hard to see on this map of the quality, but there's like a lot of farmlands to your northwest. You're kind of making your way south past that, following the river. You get to the road here and start making your way west. As you do so, it's overall very clear and kind of open, and you're riding along and just sort of enjoying this, fairly temperate weather. It's mild temperature. It's fairly comfortable. You're riding in the cart, so it's just a pretty easygoing kind of experience. But as you get too close to this next village, and some of you may know of this if you've come this way to the Scarlet Citadel on your way here, or are just more familiar with the area of where this village is. So as you're getting closer, you do start to hear the sound of a crowd off in the distance towards the village.
Some kind of party.
The crowd, can we hear, are they like cheering or shouting?
It sounds like commotion, more shouting than cheering, I'd say.
Might be bad news. Might be better to go around.
What? No, people could be in trouble. We can help.
Looks like it could be an interesting story.
Well, that's 2 votes for interesting and 1 vote for go around. So I guess I'm the deciding vote. But, well, how about we check it out, but if it looks dangerous, we go away, yeah? Kind of meet in the middle of both.
That works.
If I see women and children getting run down, I'm not running away. I'm telling you that right now.
Obviously, we would not let people harm young children, Hugo.
All right. He slaps the horse's ass so they go faster with the cart.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you guys continue moving closer towards the sound of the shouting, And as you do so, kind of turning around a bend, the first thing that you're going to spot is on the west side here. It looks like a small cemetery, and the voices are actually coming from a little bit north of that, where you can see there's an intersection. The path that heads to the north, you presume, is heading towards the village, but there's several people out front in this area, and it looks like there is a makeshift gallows set up, and you can see that there is a figure with a noose around its neck standing at the gallows, seeming like you've just sort of pounced on or stumbled into this scene of a execution getting ready to take place. So as you guys are coming from that path to the east and making your way to the west, your horses and cart kind of pulling out here. Yes, you would have. I'll go ahead and apply that real quick. All right, so yes, as you get closer along this path, you can see these different individuals. So as you're getting closer, I would say you certainly spot what appear to be like commoners, these folks that are just dressed in local attire. They don't seem to have much in the way of weapons on them. You can see a couple of more sort of like soldiery types closer towards the gallows. They are actually dressed in heavy-looking armor, have blades. You can see like crossbows on their back. There's another figure who's at the back of this, dressed in maybe some, like formal kind of attire, like robes type of stuff. And then there's this figure that is actually on the gallows at the moment.
Are they shouting anything like murderer or anything along those lines?
You're trying to make out the exact words as you're getting closer, and you hear the townsfolk seemingly shouting towards the armed figures, and it's, you're trying to make out exactly what they're saying, but you hear a lot of like, it's not her, no, that's not possible, it couldn't be her.
Okay, I'll look at Hugo and say, well, that's a woman. Does this qualify for us interfering, Hugo?
We can ask questions at the very least.
Okay, well, I'll go with you. So Basan will hop off the cart and begin to make his way down the path. As we get closer, can we start making out more?
As you're getting closer, Basan, I'd say you notice the armed men looking in your direction and kind of taking a more readied posture. As obviously these commoners don't seem like they really serve any kind of danger or they don't look dangerous, so you're assuming these armed men weren't really worried about them. But as they see you approaching, and you guys obviously are more heavily armed, they're certainly eyeing towards you. And you notice the one that is on the northeast side, he kind of turns back and he calls something out to the figure to the northwest, but you can't really hear what he's saying. But yeah, as you're getting closer, you certainly hear him say, one of these commoners say, no, you have to listen to me. It couldn't have been her. She wouldn't do that.
I'm going to approach and I'm just going to say, excuse me, what's going on here?
You notice the armed man looks towards you and he says, stay back. This is not your business.
Not necessarily, no, but it sounds like you're about to hang an innocent person, sir.
We are the law here. You are not.
Who gave you the authority? What law do you operate under?
I am Sir Brendan. I serve the Baroness.
And what is this woman accused of?
Save your questions for another time. I must keep my eyes peeled in case any of these locals try to interfere.
So I'll turn and look at the local beside me and say, sir, what is going on here?
And you see he turns towards you. You're not going to believe it. And then you see he pauses for a moment. And you see his eyes look towards Jolly and then towards Grass. And then he looks back towards you.
They're with me, sir. You don't have to worry. What is going on here?
There was one of the houses in the village. It was ransacked. There was like some things that were taken, and old lady Maud was killed, and they're saying it was her. They're saying that she colluded or something. It wouldn't be Jessica. She wouldn't do that.
So I'll turn and look back at the soldier guy and say, so you intend to hang somebody without proper investigation? Is that how the Baroness runs things around here?
The investigation has already been completed.
Did you, Sir Brendan, run the investigation, or is it that woman you keep looking back towards?
I am not the investigator, no. My responsibility is to make sure that the law is carried out faithfully, and you are interfering with that for now. Can you step back?
She likely failed a truth spell.
Hugo told me about this spell. Did she confess to you, sir?
You see, he looks again, keeping his eyes peeled, and once he seems to be convinced that there's not immediate danger here, he looks back towards you after a long pause. As I said, I am not the investigator. I'm simply here to make sure the law is carried out.
Who was the investigator then?
You're asking an awful amount of questions for an onlooker. Who are you, and what is your business here?
We were traveling through, and we heard people shouting. And now that we get closer, we see that there's potentially an innocent woman about to be hung. It's not my business, you're correct, but the death of an innocent kind of becomes my business.
And you see, once again, he just sort of looks at you and shakes his head back and forth. The investigation has been completed, as I already said. You wouldn't just walk into town and ask that the jailers approve all of their actions by you, now would you?
So, Brendan, why are you going around the question of who was the investigator? You've yet to answer
You have no
that.
authority to ask such a question. Why should I furnish you with this information?
Because it looks like if you do this, you may have a revolt from the townspeople on your hands. Is that really what you want?
As you can see, only a few of them have come out. The rest of the villagers understand what has to be done here. I am not concerned about the 4 of them, no.
Can I look up at the woman at this time that's like with the noose around her neck? Can you describe how she looks, Adam?
Her head is kind of hung low. You can see her face is really dirty. She looks exhausted, like she's been up for a very long time. You can see like streaked tears going across the dirt on her face. She just is sort of slumped there as though she's sort of lost all hope.
But she's not wearing, leather armor, and she doesn't have like knives, sheaths, and things, right?
No. She has an apron on. You get the impression of maybe like a commoner that's, kind of going about their day and was just plucked off the street. Like that's the attire in your estimation. As you're getting a little bit closer here, Hugo, you'll notice the other armed man holds his hand up and he says, "Please step back, sir."
Easy. I just was going to offer my services. I know of a very rare spell that can make her confess, tell the truth. Do you like that? It might make these people a little less angry when the deed is done.
We don't trust unsanctioned magic for this use.
All right, fair enough. Hang first, ask questions later, I suppose.
You see he seems to relax visibly as you step away.
The woman in the back, Adam, has she looked at us at all?
She hasn't, no. She's actually looking towards this tree here. She's on one knee and seems as though she's maybe in the middle of some kind of a prayer or some kind of a ritual.
And the guy said that he's working for the Black Baroness. I don't know if I'm all too familiar with the Black Baroness. I mean, I figure that it's pretty common. She's a pretty common leader. Do I see any of her symbology on him or iconology on him?
Yes, yep. You would see on both of the armed men's capes, you can see the symbol of Rosown emblazoned upon them.
Is that the Baroness?
No.
Is that one of the... What is that?
The symbol, the specific symbol that represents Roseone?
What is Roseone?
Oh, I'm sorry. Roseone is the name of the country that you guys are in. So if you remember, I'll pop you back over to the other map just for 1 second. So everything you see here is Roseone. And you'll notice at the very top where it says Roseone. So you guys are moving right now through the province of Dwerlin, but all of the provinces you see here fall under the banner of Roseone, which is this nation.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, good question. Like I say, I know a lot of this is brand new world lore for all of you guys, so feel free to ask any questions.
Hugo will sort of like sidle up to the angry commoners and be like, "Sorry, I tried, but unless you know who actually did this crime, I think your friend is gonna pay the price."
You notice this guy standing here just to your west. Hugo looks back towards you and says, "It doesn't make any sense. She's never done anything. She's always been very helpful. I mean, yeah, sometimes she drinks too much and gets a little bit rowdy, but she would never kill Maud."
They seem very convinced that it was her, so why would that be if it wasn't her?
I don't know, but I'll tell you, I don't think either of these two has brains in between the both of them. They're just doing what that lady tells them.
Excuse me, sir. The gentleman, the knight, I suppose, told me that the investigation had been concluded. Do you know who ran the investigation?
Oh, it must be her back there. She arrived at the village yesterday, and she came in and just kind of walked in like she owned the place and started going into people's homes and demanding access to everything. And then she came out, and before long, we saw Jessica there being pulled out of her house by these two knights.
And how long ago did the murder happen?
Let's see, that'd be 2 days ago now.
So she was 1 day away, waiting to come and investigate. Do you know where she came from?
I don't know. I mean, I would assume maybe from the capital, but yeah, it's got here very quick.
Something doesn't add up. May I speak with your boss back there?
And I assume you're asking that of the knight, right?
Yeah.
And I was just trying to double check because I was wanting to make sure. So the symbol of Roseone is actually a black stag. So that is what you would see emblazoned on their white capes. So as you ask that of the knight, you see he turns and looks towards you now. What is it that you wish to speak to her about?
I just wish to pay my respects to the law. And he like pulls out his little book of Halen. Justice has become very important to me recently, and I just want to, pick her brain a little bit and find out how I can somehow get more involved.
Yeah, give me a blind check here. You notice he pauses for a moment as he eyes the book and then looks up towards you and kind of changes his shoulder position a bit as he looks towards you, and he says, "So, you're a true believer of Halen then?"
A beginner, a novice, honestly, but I have begun walking this path.
Well, that's very great. I'm glad to hear that. It's good to see another devout follower, or we perhaps devout follower to be. But to be honest, friend, I don't know what your rudimentary knowledge in his ways is going to help in this. Can you perhaps explain further what it is that you're hoping to accomplish?
Oh, I just want to be a part of the solution. You know what I mean? For a while, I was part of the problem, and now, I can do a little magic. Nothing crazy, but I can use it to talk to the prisoner and like maybe find out like where the people she was working with are.
I'll ask, but we're not allowed to use magic just from wanders by. You have to understand how that would look. If we were to take your word for whatever you say your magic says, then we'd be handing over the authority of decision making to just travelers.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, I'm just trying here I'm offering my help, free of charge. And, if she says no, she says no. What was her name? So I know how to address her?
Her name is Lalaka.
Lalaka. Lady Lalaka, or just Lalaka is fine.
She's not a noble. I will see. Just stay here. Don't get any closer.
Hugo, while you were talking to him, he made a statement that kind of made me think. He said, who would we to be trusting someone off the street? Yet this woman just arrived, and all of a sudden, they're trusting her?
Oh, yeah, I mean, but she must have some kind of badge or paperwork or something for them to follow her, right?
If she's no noble, then what can she honestly... What if she has them under some kind of spell?
Maybe. Have to keep an eye on her.
What is it you want with that human?
I don't want anything with that human. I just don't want people to die that don't need to be died. Does that make sense, Grask?
Looks like there might be a need to satisfy people.
Yes, but if they kill the wrong person, and then someone else is killed a few nights later, what happens then?
Another need.
The innocent shouldn't pay for the guilty.
All right, as you guys are chatting, you notice as he goes over there, he waits for a moment as the woman is kneeled over, and after that moment, you see she kind of cocks her head and looks towards him, and he inclines his head a little bit, speaking very softly to her, and then he sort of motions back towards your group, and you see her head kind of turns and looks towards you all, and then she just gives him a nod, and she starts standing up and wiping the dirt off of her knees. You see he will approach here for a moment, and he says, Lalika said she will come speak with you, but we have to get the rest of these folks corralled away. You, come this way. And you see he starts talking to the villagers here, and between the two knights, they kind of corral these guys over to the side, getting pushed over here kind of more towards Jolly, as they kind of make a little bit of a cordoned off area. And then you'll see she slowly, very much taking her time, makes her way out. She will then look out towards the three of you. Her eyes linger on Grask for perhaps a bit longer than the rest of you. I am told that you wish to speak to me. Make it quick, for justice waits for no man.
Yeah, begging your pardon. Lanica, was it?
That is correct.
I was just wanted to offer my services as a wizard of some power.
I don't see how that would be of any help to us under the current predicament.
Oh, well, she's gonna get hung, right? For being a collaborator with somebody that did a crime, right?
I suppose you could say that, though it's actually using the dark arts, in fact.
Oh. She's like a witch.
Yes, that is correct. As you're looking for any kind of symbols, Basan, you do recognize around her neck is the symbol of Halen.
Nothing directing towards Rosan or the Black Baroness in any way? Just Halen?
Correct.
as a new convert in the following of Halen, justice has been at the forefront of my mind. And while it's good to catch this witch, I would like to find out if she worked with anybody else, so that all may find the justice.
That work has already been completed. We've done a thorough investigation of the village. We've found all the evidence we need to piece exactly what has occurred together. I appreciate your interest in this matter, but you must understand how unorthodox it is that we should have to explain ourselves to some well-armed travelers.
Excuse me, I don't mean to butt in, Hugo or lady, but I heard that you had only arrived a day before. Is there any reason why you came here? Were you in search of witchcraft?
I am always in search of those that practice the dark arts.
Are you under the Black Baroness's, I guess you could say, authority? Is she telling you who to hunt down?
I work for the Church of Halen, and the Church of Halen is granted authority to execute Halen's will here in Rosone.
And as powerful and mighty as Halen is, I'm well versed. I also know that without a proper confession and investigation, could you really just determine that this person here in an apron and smut covered on her face is a magical practitioner of dark arts? It just doesn't make sense to me.
You fail to accept my words. I've explained already that the investigation has already been completed. We found everything that we needed to make this judgment.
I think it's fair to just ask what you found, because these people here believe her to be innocent. So you must understand our concern. We're passing by and we hear an innocent person may be killed.
You have no standing in these matters. I'm having a hard time understanding why you're getting yourselves involved. Yes, there will always be some villagers who doubt the truth. They haven't been able to see all of the information that we've been able to obtain. We are under no need to explain to them or to you everything that is found. Our direction comes from Halen himself.
Why not just show them to make them leave?
They would not be able to explain them or understand them even if we did show them.
How can that make sense?
It does to those of us that are educated in the ways of the dark arts.
That is kind of what I find concerning. Before you came here, what town did you visit?
I am under no need to answer your questions. You're going about this all wrong. I'm going to have to ask you to return to your cart there and go about your business.
I'm gonna look at Hugo and say, is this how people of Halen treat other people, Hugo? Does this follow doctrine?
I'm pretty new to it, so I guess yes.
Adam, can I make a religion check for my knowledge on Halen? I'm proficient in religion, so I'm sure I've read and I don't know how much the Kanasi follow Halen, but
Not at all.
yeah. Okay. As an anthropologist, though, right? I study a lot of different cultures, and I would feel like
If you're proficient in religion, you can definitely make a check. But I guess the question I'd ask is, what is it that you're hoping to learn from this check?
Like if I know their tenets, right? Like, you know, like a paladin has these tenets and devotions and things, but they're all derived from, an oath. But in religion, you know, like, Christianity, for example, you got 10 commandments, things like that. So I'm trying to figure out if I know what Halens are.
What mountain did the stone tablets of Halen come from? And
Yeah,
what did they
exactly.
say?
Okay, I think I get it. It's sort of a general overview of what the religion represents, perhaps. Okay, yeah, give me a blind check.
Yeah, I guess the best way to put it, Adam, is what I'm trying to figure out is, does this sound in the wheelhouse for what followers of Halen do? Or does this sound, obscure to me?
Okay. I would say that you are familiar that Halen is sort of the lead deity in the pantheon of all the deities. His paladins are known as executors of justice. Like, they actually have anywhere where the churches of Halen hold sway, a paladin can pretty much roll up and say, this is my decision, this is what I've determined, and the local authorities are supposed to respect that because they are basically imbued with awesome powers of authority to execute justice as they see fit. The churches of Halen sometimes use investigators, that sort of thing, to find this information. So I would say nothing about this really strikes you as being completely against Halen's beliefs or Halen's catechism. The only issue would be, obviously, she's telling you that she has knowledge that you don't have. Assuming her knowledge is correct and what she found, then what she's doing would totally line up.
Okay, and it's usually paladins that are the executors and not the investigators, correct?
Correct.
She doesn't strike me as a paladin, does she?
Well, what is a paladin, right? so hard
I guess,
to say.
yeah, but she's not, she's wearing robes. I'm not catching like heavy armor. She doesn't have a
And not all
shield and
paladins wear heavy armor and shields and walk around healing. I mean, it's.
I guess that's true.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, you can certainly make that gauge, right? But I would say, looking at her, you wouldn't be able to say just by looking at somebody whether or not they're a paladin.
I guess that's fair.
Hugo will take this opportunity to sort of try to get a look at the face of the person that's gonna get hung, the lady that's and see if there's any sort of recognition or if she's under some kind of spell herself.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and give me a blind check, Hugo. So as you look towards this woman who's just sort of hanging here with her head slumped low, and you try to move into a position where you can get a good look at her face, she seems almost as though she's given up completely. She's just kind of looking at the ground and just despondent at this point. You don't see any obvious signs of anything out of the ordinary other than her looking exhausted and just really, really weary.
She looks tired.
Please return to your cart and continue about your business, and let us continue about ours.
Sure. But before I go, though, I'm quite familiar with the Halen and the investigators and whatnot, but I've never heard of an investigator operating an execution. Are you a paladin?
As I explained, I am under no requirement to answer your questions. You have no authority here. Go about your business.
Are we allowed to watch?
As long as you do so from a distance, fine.
How long till?
And you see she looks up towards the sun. An hour or so.
Graskell turned to the others.
Can we spare the hour?
I guess so. It's a bit morbid.
I've never seen one.
All right, so it sounds like you guys' plan is to remain here for the hour and wait to see how this goes down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they want to wait, that's fine. But Basada's, he wants to kind of conduct his own investigation. Is the town to the west here, Adam?
It's to the north.
Is it
Yeah.
about how far away is it? Is like you can see it in the distance, or
Yes, it's very close. I would say it'd probably take you 5 minutes to walk there.
that might be a better idea.
We're gonna
Oh, yeah.
waste a whole hour.
Why don't we go into the town and see if we can get to the truth of this for real justice? He says this quietly so that they can't hear.
Wow, this trip got sideways fast.
He was either gonna do this or gamble.
Why not both?
Well, I kind of have to say that I agree with Hugo on his observation for this one. I don't like her attitude. It's suspicious.
Before Jolly steps away from the soldier, she says, "Thank you for your service."
And you notice one of these knights sort of turns and looks towards you and just gives you like a quizzical look. You're not sure if many of these people have ever seen one of your species before, Jolly. So you see him just kind of turn and look towards you and just more curious than anything else, but he doesn't give a response.
So the usual.
Yes. Okay, so it sounds like decision point time, guys. Some, I heard, head into the village and try to do a quick investigation themselves, and others say just sort of wait here and watch. Can we get a final decision before we go to break?
Basan wants to go investigate, yeah.
Yeah, I think Hugo thinks it's probably the best chance they have of actually getting this woman freed.
And, we may get to the bottom of it and find out she's guilty as shit. Then we just watch her get executed and keep on moving.
Yeah. We can't mess with these people if we're wrong. It'll be really bad. So
Every DM plans a hanging scene like this with the thought of my players will like to sit around and watch this go off.
No, I mean, every one of these, like they say, every scene needs to do something, right? It needs to reveal character, usually, is what you're trying to do. So this is that sort of decision point where we see what our player characters are all about, what they're thinking, how they act, that sort of thing. So, yeah, no, I think it's been really interesting. But, so we've got 2 votes to head into the village. So I guess I'm looking to Grask or Jolly. Are either you guys going to jump on, go into the village and investigate?
Village.
Okay, perfect. That's the vote then. So, all right, we will take our 15-minute break here, folks, and then we will have heading to the village after that. See everybody back in 15.
Team 15.
Alrighty, we are back on the second half of our session here as the group has encountered this sort of local, or maybe not so local, religious investigator and a couple of knights in the process of trying to hang this woman who seems to be like a local from the village. And the group has decided to make their way to the village and see what else they can learn. So group, you guys take your cart and horses into the village, making your way carefully around the gallows area where they clear just enough space for you to be able to do that. And you spend the 5 minutes or so making your way to the village itself. You recall hearing from Lalika that the execution was going to take place in about an hour. So you figure you have about that amount of time. As you get into the village square, this is a fairly small village. Quickly estimating based on the houses, you would guess there's 100 or less people that live in this village. It seems to be fairly minor. And there's, what I would say your common folk walking about, mostly dressed as farmers. You can see that there is a woman that is currently up on one of the roofs, seemingly repairing the thatch. And there is a couple of kids playing more like in the common area, kicking a ball around.
This is a nice little village.
Hard to think somebody was just boldly murdered here, right?
Yeah. Wonder if any of these people know who she was.
Well, maybe we don't have too much time, but maybe we should go to the old lady Maud's house, the lady who was murdered, and see if we can see anything they didn't, or did.
Yeah, good idea. Maybe ask one of these people where it's at.
It's not enough to prove that the one they're trying to hang didn't do it. If you prove that, but don't have another person lined up, they'll point to us.
True. But, Grask, have you ever heard of a serial killer? Are you familiar?
No.
It's when someone kills 3 or more people in succession. Not like in battle, but just pure murder for no reason. What if this woman, this lady that is coming from town to town saying she's an investigator of Halen, is killing folks and then blaming other people for her murders? That's the vibe I got, at least.
Didn't she only show up after?
Yes, but she was just a short distance away. She showed up the next day. You know how easy it would be to come into town, unseen, unheard, do your business and leave? Come back the next day as the hero?
No one was calling her a hero.
Well, it's just odd. I mean, maybe we should ask when the last person was murdered before this woman. Is it common in this area for people to kill each other out of anger or frustration, or did all of a sudden someone die?
Maybe this woman that got killed was into some stuff, messed with the wrong people.
Completely possible. However, that girl, Ginny, I didn't really get the vibe of a killer from her.
It's hard to say. Sometimes they shut down like that. But I don't know, it was weird that they wouldn't say what evidence they had, and she just shows up here after it happens. Like, how'd she even hear about it? I don't know. Well, let's go to that house. There might be some sort of clue.
Adam, are there like knights walking around similar
No.
to what we saw with Sir Brendan?
No, not at all. You see nothing in the village that you would take to be any kind of guard presence or any kind of soldier at all.
So where did the knights come from?
Unless they're the only ones here. They're out there right now. We could rob this place blind. Just kidding. I don't want to do that anymore.
Well, from my knowledge of Halen, what I know is the paladins are usually the executors of justice, right? And we all know paladins, I mean, holy warriors and whatnot. But I've not heard of an investigator being an executor, or the executor being an investigator. I've never heard of them doing it at the same time. But this is only an assumption, and me putting together knowledge that I know.
You doubt she's a follower?
Maybe she's preying on those who believe. I mean, this is not some big hoity-toity town with tons of money, is it?
Is there a church in this town for Halen? If there is, there may be records, stories of this person to prove they're with the church.
Maybe we make that stop after we go and visit this old lady's house and see if we see anything. But we only have an hour, so we need to move quickly.
Should we split up between those that are investigating the woman from Hayland and those that are investigating the actual incident?
We could do that. Little groups of 2.
I mean, we don't even know if they have a Temple of Halen. This place is pretty small. But I'll find it. You guys find that house.
I'll
Okay.
go with Hugo.
All right.
And look, while you're out, if you have a chance to talk to somebody and get a few impressions of what happened, I suggest we do so.
I'll put on my best Halen face. And Hugo smiles at you and holds up the Book of Halen.
Come on, Jolly, let's go find this lady's house.
Okay.
All right, Sebastian volunteers to stay back with the horses and the cart so that you guys don't have to worry about them going missing. So, yeah, we'll start with Basan and with Jolly. So I assume as you're looking for this woman's house, is it safe to say you're going to chat with some of the locals and see what you can find out and see if you can find where Maud's house is?
Yeah. Use the commoner's direction book.
All right, and who would like to make a investigation charisma check to see what they can learn from the locals?
Both of those are pretty high for me, Jolly.
Yeah, I assume you should probably do that.
All right, Basan, go
Is it-
ahead and give me a blind check. So this is an investigation check, but I'm using your charisma score instead of your intelligence.
Okie dokie. Sorry, let me scroll out to my token. Here we go. Blind check coming up.
All right, so as you begin chatting up the locals and just speaking with them here and there, you speak with a man who you learn is a carpenter. His name is Bendel, and as you begin speaking with him and you ask about Maud's house, you see he kind of just points with his hand in a direction towards a house. This whole village is pretty small, so all of the houses are within like 300 feet of one another. And you see he just kind of points and says, yeah, it's right over there. I suppose you hear about Jessica and everything that's going on outside?
Yes, I know it's none of our business, but, we have a practitioner of Halen on our caravan, and he was a bit discerned with an innocent woman being slain. So we were just trying to do our due diligence,
Yeah, terrible story, but you can find her house over there. Actually, you can see Wilkes is out front. He's just kind of watching the place.
Well, perfect. Ben, do you mind if I ask you when, before Miss Maud here was murdered, is murder a commonplace in this town? Does it happen often?
No, this is the first time I can remember.
Does he look old, Adam?
Probably late 50s.
And do you have like churches to hail in, or have you had problems and inquired about an investigator to come and look into dark magic or anything like that?
No, we don't actually have the official church. Village is kind of small for that, but what is dark practitioner? We get sometimes, all matter of people kind of coming through. With the village being right off the road and all, people want to stop sometimes and get a drink. We've got the little inn there, but it's really only room for one person or one group to stay, so pretty small.
Who do you think did it?
Who killed Maud? I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing, Miss Cat Lady. I don't think it was Jessica. You see, Jessica, she was always a nice lady, and, she was friendly with the young lads, and, she liked to party, and she liked having the men, be interested in her and stuff, but I never thought of her ever as a murderer.
What about the knights, the two knights that were with the woman who arrived, the priestess of Halen, so to speak? Are they traveling with her, or are they stationed here?
Oh, no, all three of those came together. That lady came out with those knights, I think, but the knights kind of stayed, like, outside town, and she just walked in, and everybody was staring at her, of course, like, who's this lady? And she just kind of made her way around and talked to some people. I know she talked to Patty. You could go ask Patty about it. She spoke with her.
Patty over at the inn?
No, Patty's up there. And you see he points up on this roof where you see a woman working on repairing the thatch on one of the houses.
Thank you, Bendel. I really appreciate it. And I'll look at Jolly and say, well, we should probably talk to her.
Aye, aye.
So I'll make my way over to where the lady's at the roof, and I'll say, excuse me, Patty?
And as you're making your way away here, Jolly, you can actually hear a little kid run up to Bendel as you're walking away. You're like maybe 15, 20 feet away, and you hear the little kid say, "Was that a cat lady?" All right, and then you make your way over to where Patty is doing this thatch. And yeah, you notice she's kind of up there and trying to take some of this thatch and repair gaps or holes in the roofing, stuffing it in, trying to seal it up, that sort of thing. As you call up to her, you see she turns and looks down towards you. "What was that? What'd you say?"
Excuse me, I heard that the lady and the knights who visited the town, that the lady, she spoke with you. Do you have a second to talk to me about what she spoke to you about?
And you see she kind of, and you see she looks around and starts setting all the stuff that she's, all this thatch, and you imagine sort of like ties and that kind of stuff off to the side, and then slowly makes her way to an area of the house where you presume there's a ladder, and she then climbs down and makes her way over, wiping herself off. You can see all bits of the thatch kind of still sticking to her, and she looks at you and says, "Yeah, that's right. I spoke with the lady. What did you want to know?"
Well, I'm sure, you're familiar with the old lady Maud being murdered, and we were passing the execution outside, and it just didn't add up to me. So I just wanted to ask you, what did the lady ask you?
"Oh, well, she was kind of like just striding through town, and then she asked me where Maud's house was, and she asked me what I knew about Jessica. And I told her, I said, Jessica's not worth anything. Always been trying to steal all the ladies' husbands in this village. Just terrible, terrible woman."
Okay, but do you think Jessica would ever murder Maud?
I don't know. It's hard to say because she always had that, like she didn't have to follow any of the rules attitude, like she thought she was better than everybody and she didn't have to do what everybody else had to. Murder, it seems kind of a little bit of a stretch, but, well, when there's people like that and they just don't seem to want to go along with things, you never know what they're thinking in their heads.
Miss Patty, I hope my next statement is not rude, but did Patty try to take your husband at any point?
She did. Yes, she did. James, I talked to him. He said, "Oh, no, never, not even a chance." But no, she definitely did.
And the lady who entered, she didn't speak to anybody else. She only spoke to you.
I think she also spoke to Wilkes.
Where can I find Wilkes?
And you see she just kind of scans around the village center area here, the village square, and then she points over towards the house that you were just directed at earlier. So there he is. He's standing out in front of Maud's house now.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt your work, but that's really all I wanted to know. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
She nods and says, "I will be if I can get this fixed." And you see she makes her way back towards the rear of the house and begins to climb the ladder. So after that occurs, let's go ahead and flash over to Grask and Hugo. So the two of you guys are looking for some kind of a church inside the village here?
Yeah, basically like a church to Halen.
So what I would say is just by looking around, you're quite confident there's no official church. There's no kind of like stone buildings or anything that would stick out to you being an actual, brick and mortar kind of church. Now, there might be a small shrine to Halen in one of these homes that maybe some of the locals use, or occasionally in these smaller villages, they might put something like that in more of a common home, like the inn or what they're using as the inn. They might put something like that there, but you're quite confident there's no official church.
Okay. Well,
who runs the town? Who might have the records?
Yeah. Who did she speak to get the ability to just take someone away?
And if there's anyone near us as we're walking around, I'll just grab them by the shoulder and ask them,
who runs this place?
There's a little kid nearby as you reach down, kind of like grabbing him softly just to stop him in his tracks, and you see he looks up at you with really wide open eyes. We kind of just walk around. Nobody runs.
I'll shake him to help jog his memory. And
Whoa, Grask, hold on.
Where can we find records in this place?
Records? What are records?
You go.
Is there a mayor? Do you have someone, a leader?
I guess Wilkes over there.
Thank you. Don't worry, he's very friendly. Hey, Mike.
He stares at Grask's teeth and jaws and snout and has like this just panic shake in his body. Like he definitely does not believe you, Hugo.
Goodbye.
All right, Grask, come along before someone frames you for something.
I haven't done anything, though.
I know, that's what a frame is. You're innocent, but you still get punished. All right, let's go find that Wilkes fellow.
All right, so the two of you start making your way over to that house, and maybe like 2 minutes behind you is where Basan and Jolly are heading that direction as well. But as you're walking there, you notice an older man sort of leaning on a shovel. The shovel is barely in the ground at all, as though he's not really digging here. He's just kind of looking towards the house. As you're getting closer, you notice occasionally he's looking around every now and again. And as you're getting fairly close to him, he actually pulls his hat off and like wipes a flop of sweat off of his head, puts the cap back on, and he turns back. And as he sees the two of you, he raises the shovel and he points it at you, Grask, and he says, "Stay back, merman! You're not going to get me!"
I could if I wanted to, but I don't want to.
No, every time you kind of come out of the lake, I just smack you right in the snout. You go back.
Whoa. Relax, please. He will definitely hurt you if you continue saying such things to him. Relax for your own sake.
You see he looks back and forth between the two of you. Okay, just don't keep away from me. Don't like no merman by me. They stink.
Is your name Wilkes?
That's right. I'm the gravedigger. Gravedigger Wilkes.
We're looking for records.
What kind of records?
Proof that that woman who came by belongs to Halen.
Don't have any records like that. Nope. That lady you're talking about, I forget what her name was. Something Winston. Nope. She's not from here.
And what's your deal, Wilkes?
Well, I'm the gravedigger, oldest man in the village. People come to me and try to get my great wisdom on everything that I know about the place. Well, is that what you meant?
Yes. Well, I wanted to find out why you were, sort of leaning on that shovel of yours.
After that lady Winston came by and she checked out the house, I was out here just making sure she wasn't doing anything wrong, and she came out and she said, hey, stay here and watch the house, make sure nobody goes in there. So that's what I'm doing.
Would you say at this point, Adam, like the two of us, Jolly and Basan, have rolled up?
Yep, you're getting really close, yep.
All right, I'm going to sneak in and I'm going to say, excuse me, Wilkes?
And you see he looks towards you. Yeah, that's me. Oh, man, a lot of strangers in the village today.
Oh, I apologize for catching you off guard. I've been sent by Lady Lunuka to grab a few last things in the house before the execution. She said that you would let me in.
Give me a blind deception check. And Jolly, as you're approaching, you notice Wilkes looking towards you, and he kind of like raises this eye, and he looks again, and he's like, hey, you're one of those cat people, aren't you?
What gave it away?
Can I rub your belly? I always heard those stories that it was good luck to rub a belly.
That's an old wives' tale.
Oh, you kidding? That's not true?
No.
Oh, man. You could make a killing just selling that. Belly rubs, 1 silver piece each.
Thanks for the business idea.
And you see he kind of like narrows his eye once again, but seems to like your attitude and just kind of nods it off. So yeah, as you say this, Basan, trying to convince him that you're allowed inside, you see he looks at you a little bit. Yeah, okay, but not these people aren't in, right? Just the lady said just you, right?
Yes, these folks are traveling with me, but I work for Lady Lunaka, so they can wait outside with you. They may have a few questions to get an outside perspective about what happened, so please answer them truthfully and honestly, if you will.
All right, well, just so you know, I think there's like the ground's really hard in there or something, because that lady said don't go in because she didn't want anything ruling in the dents.
In that case, I may need to take Hugo there with me. He's a master at things like that. Hugo, come along. Let's go inside.
But, okay.
All right. See you later, Wilkes.
And you see he turns back and realizes the people waiting with him here are Grask and Jolly, and just kind of wobbles back and forth on his shovel as he's looking at you guys a little bit suspiciously.
So why didn't you want to go see the hanging?
And we can cut from there. We don't need to.
All right, fair enough.
Hugo reminds Wilkes before he leaves, he's like, remember, don't insult him too much.
And he just gives you a nod like, yep, I got it. All right, so yeah, the two of you guys make your way to the house. You can see the door is slightly ajar. It's not even closed here. You step into this very simple home. You can see that there is the body of who you presume to be Maud, who is in the back, and there is like a throw that has been put over her. There is a little bit of like a disturbance, obviously, here. There was some kind of a fight or something that happened. You can see like a table is missing one of its legs and is leaning down as it is broken. You can see some of the living arrangements here have been kind of tossed or set ajar, like a chair might be knocked over, that sort of thing. Clearly some signs of a struggle.
Cool. So we'll shut the door behind us to, the same similar kind of crack, and I'll look at Hugo and I'll say, Hugo, look, Jolly and I spoke to a woman named Patty who spoke with Lady Lunaka as she entered. They were the only two people to speak to her. Wilkes here, and then Patty. Jenny apparently tried to steal Patty's husband, and Patty badmouthed Jenny quite a bit, but Bendel, the carpenter for the town, seemed to find Jenny, maybe a little promiscuous, but friendly, all the less. I think we have a case of slighted woman here.
So, do you think Patty did it? Patty killed the lady?
No, I don't think that. I think Lunaka is using her as a scapegoat. I think we should see if we can find anything here that would prove that maybe her and her knights did it, because those knights are traveling with her.
All right. I mean, let's see. They might have left something behind. First things first, we gotta take a look at the body.
So, is it dark inside, Adam?
I mean, there's some light that come in through the shutters, but it's not like bright light.
Okay, I'll cast light on, I guess my staff that I'm carrying, my spear staff, and allow the room to kind of get really bright for us so we can investigate more clearly.
Okay.
And while I'll hold it, I'll pull back the throw over the body and get a look at. I'm specifically trying to look at the wounds. Like, did they look like, piercing wounds, like a dagger or a knife? Because my reasoning is Jessica didn't seem like, she's got weaponry. So is it like slashing cuts or stabbing cuts or?
Okay, yeah, blind check here as you, essentially this will be a medicine check as you're trying to determine the wounds to the body.
Perfect. Not great at medicine, but I don't feel like it'd be too hard to figure out if she was stabbed or slashed. You know what I mean?
Right. So what I would say is you don't see any kind of piercing wounds. You do notice that at the wrists, though, there are slashes. So, yeah, I would say slashes at the wrist is likely what is you would presume is the killing wound.
Are there other abrasions or cuts or anything outside of just what are on her wrist?
Not what you can tell based on that check.
Okay. Is she still clothed?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll point it out to Hugo and I'll say it looks like the slashes on her wrist here are what killed her.
Hmm.
It's an odd way to kill somebody, right?
Well, that lady said something about the dark arts. Maybe this is some kind of sacrificial killing.
Adam, can I make a religion check against like dark arts? Does this seem like any kind of, do I notice any, blood runes or any crazy stuff?
You can, yeah. Another blind check.
Much better at religion.
So, as you're looking over the body and trying to see anything out of the ordinary, you will notice that where the body's lying, there is some blood that comes out more towards the thigh area. And based on what you saw in investigating the body, it's likely that this woman died due to the slashes on her wrist. So, the fact that there's a bunch of blood near the thigh area seems very odd, as though maybe the body's lying on a pool of blood, perhaps. Hard to say, but you don't see that amount of pool of blood near where the wrists are sort of outstretched above the head.
Okay, can I lift the body and see what's underneath it?
You can, yeah. So as you lift the body, you do indeed spot. So it's a blood rune might be appropriate terminology here. It looks as though somebody used blood in order to draw this kind of strange symbol. As you're looking over it, it certainly seems to be what you would say associated with the dark arts as far as some kind of blood magic ritual here.
Can I ascertain like a level to it? Like, is it standard, like common knowledge, this rune, or is it
No.
like some high level?
Nothing like that would ever be really common knowledge, but you can make another check based on Arcana to see if this rune means anything to you, or you can gather anything from it.
Okay.
Yeah, so what you're able to determine here, Basan, as you're looking over this rune, is there is a specific ritual where basically a supplicant can request aid from some dark deities that are associated with blood. Some individuals refer to this as like the blood god, for example. So this is typically done by the individual themselves, and they draw these runes hoping to get access to some kind of a gift or a boon from the blood god. This is, again, what can kill somebody if they take it too far, right? Because they try it doesn't work, so then they do another wound and keep adding on to the rune and keep drawing it, and obviously they eventually get woozy from blood loss and just pass out and die.
Is there any, as I think this and I start relaying this information to Hugo, can Hugo and I maybe take a second to look around and see if we can find any kind of knife or anything with blood on it?
I will use your previous check as you look around for anything like that, spending maybe a minute or so. No, you do not find anything like that.
That's concerning, Hugo.
Why?
Well,
What is it?
this ritual that was done here is self-inflicted.
Oh. But look around this place, though. It's all tossed up and shit. It's like... It looks like someone struggled.
Yeah, Adam, can we see like footprints, multiple different footprints, or any boot prints, or anything that would, like maybe a scrape from a table that represents a struggle?
As you look around for anything like that, I would say nothing like that sticks out to you. It's the signs of a struggle are there, but when you look for specific elements, you don't find any.
Oh, it's been made to look like one.
Yes. I think, if you think about it, and I'll go and stand by one of the tables and push it back to where it's supposed to be, all of this seems rudimentary, right? I mean, a quick shuffle around, make it look a lot worse. And then she said, don't allow anyone else in. That's what confuses me. Why can no one else take a look?
Who discovered the body?
It's a good question, but based on what I see here, it this ritual is used to gain favor or boon, right, from the blood god. And it can also summon creatures you don't mean it to, maybe allow you to communicate with something or someone, but it is odd and rare, right? You don't see blood runes like this often.
Yeah, was she doing it to get something in good favor or something like that?
How are you on magical ability? You think you could maybe see if there's any magic residue left in here?
Yeah, I definitely could. You want me to give it a crack?
Yes, we don't have much time, and then I'm starting to believe that this is
Looks like
not
a
real.
setup.
It does look like a setup, yes.
All right. And Hugo will cast Detect Magic.
Okay.
Non-ritually, just using the spell slot.
Yeah, go ahead and burn that slot. With that spell in effect, as you glance around the room looking for any signs of magic, nothing in the room triggers to you unless there's something on you or your companions that would trigger.
Nothing,
Don't see
huh?
anything. No, nothing's glowing.
Not even the rune itself.
The rune is not magical.
It's not glowing.
Whatever's been done has already been finished. You know, Go ahead.
I think Hugo's gonna start like searching around the house here to try to find any sort of like, I don't know, ritual like stuff about blood sacrifice or anything like that that might be in it.
Yeah, like hex bags. Like, is this woman Maud a witch? You know what I mean? Like, I'll get along with that search, Hugo.
All right, Hugo, give me a blind check as you do that search of the house. You don't find anything too out of the ordinary, but you do notice in sort of like a cabinet against the side wall, once you are able to open that, it's a little bit stuck. You kind of have to wedge it open. You do notice that there are some salves and some ointments and some various herbs. That gives you sort of the impression that maybe this Maud woman was some kind of a medicine person, like a healer of some kind.
She did know a little something about this sort of stuff, but I'm not seeing any other blood magic stuff. Well, regardless, I think we know that Jessica is not the one responsible here.
Yes. So I'm trying to understand why they made the assumption. I mean, did they just speak to Patty and find a scapegoat?
Scapegoat makes it so that it's nice and neatly wrapped up, that's for sure. No one questions what happened to her anymore.
And another thing, why are they waiting for the sun for the execution? I mean, most executions I know are done in the light, not at first dark, right?
And you would know based on the time that she told you, 1 hour, it will still be light out at that time.
Well, is there any significance to the 1 hour? Because you said she like looked at the sun. Was it just that she was gauging time, or
You
is
think
it?
she was just gauging time. Yeah, you didn't notice any kind of significance to that specific time. Like, yeah, maybe she just in her head thought we'll give it an hour and looked at the sun to gauge that.
Well, we do have a short amount of time, so I guess, I don't know, unless there's anything else in here, we gotta let the others know, and I'm telling you, we gotta talk to this Wilkes guy outside.
Well, two things, Hugo. First, is there a back door, Adam, or windows
not.
out? No back door, no windows.
There are shutters, but they're really small, so a normal-sized person would not be able to fit through them, and no back door.
Definitely not a knight in heavy armor, right?
Correct. For sure not, no.
Okay. So we know that whoever killed Maud, if someone else did it, right, they would have had to come through the front door. because there's no other way in here. So either she killed herself through this ritual, or somebody set it all up to make it look that way. And then next, Basan's going to go over to the body, Adam, and see if maybe he can gauge how long it's been deceased.
Based on your previous medicine check, hard to say.
Okay. I don't quite know how long she's been dead, but it's concerning to me, you know? I mean, these wounds could be self-inflicted or inflicted by someone else, especially if someone's, looking for dark magic. But Bindle said that no one's been murdered here for any time he can remember, and he's in his 50s.
Can I look at her, like, arms and see if there's other scars, like older scars of her doing this before?
Blind check, Hugo. You do not see any other scars like this.
Could be a first timer, or maybe someone did it to her.
Yes, but what about the timing, right? All of a sudden, these 3 individuals show up, and this is the first time dark magic's been seen in this village, or a murder's been conducted in this village in X amount of years.
Yeah, I mean, seems suspicious for sure. But it does sort of check out with her story if she actually did think Jessica did it. Maybe she just doesn't know. But, because like dark arts, that rune seems dark.
Oh, it's definitely not a friendly spell in origin, for sure. But all of a sudden, in a random side village, it makes no sense. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you would see from practitioners with years of knowledge. There's no books in here. There's no hanging corpses of animals to use as spell components. She doesn't have jars full of toenails and slime.
Is there a way for someone to use her and gain the benefit from her blood?
The ritual would allow the person who's doing it to gain a boon or a favor, and perhaps if that boon or favor was asked through force, then yeah, I think perhaps that's a way of going about it. But doing this ritual is incredibly dangerous because of the, as you can see, trauma it inflicts upon yourself. So if you wanted to gain the favor of this ritual and have someone else do it for you, you'd have to do it through force.
Or magic.
Or magic. Compulsion. Which, by the way, Ginny, or Jessica, did she not seem subdued? I mean, if you were accused of a crime you didn't commit, Hugo, how would you act?
Yeah, I'd be shouting to the mountaintops.
You wouldn't stop fighting. So she just went calmly into the night. With no confession, also. She didn't confess. She never confessed. Just doesn't make sense.
Well, what are we gonna do, though? Here's the question. We gotta bring this to the others and decide what we will actually do about it. Because if we go to war and it turns out she's a legit priestess of Halen, we're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So let's bring it to the others and see what they have to say about it.
Well, that spell that you have that allows people, and like as I'm talking, I'm gonna click my staff and turn the light off as we're walking out. That allows people to tell the truth, Hugo. Does it take a long time to do it?
No. And actually, I might not even have that prepared. So let me just take a look real quick.
Cool. So we'll walk out, Adam, to Grask and Jolly talking with Wilkes.
Okay, so yeah, as you guys come out, so during this time, Grasker Jolly, is there anything in particular you're asking Wilkes, or just waiting for your companions to exit?
Who do you think did do it?
He looks towards you, Grask, a little bit nervous. I'm pretty sure it was Jessica. I saw her there. She was there when it all happened.
But still no interest in seeing it.
I just bury him. I don't like to see him die.
Welcome back. Learn anything?
Yeah. I don't want to. Wilkes, we're gonna move over here for a little bit and talk amongst ourselves.
He seems relieved as you say, yeah, okay.
Really quick though, Wilkes. I heard you say something through the doors there. I couldn't quite make it out. You said you saw Jessica do it.
I didn't see her do it, but I saw her in the house. You see, I was here in the morning as I wake up real early, you see, and I heard like a commotion in the house, like movement and stuff, smashing. So I came in and I was like, oh, Maud, are you there? Is everything okay? And it was quiet. So I opened the door and Jessica was standing there looking at me real shocked. And I saw Maud's body past her. So, yeah, it's got to be Jessica.
Did Jessica and Maud know each other? Were they friends or anything?
It's a small village. Everybody knows everybody.
Does Maud let people in her house?
Sure, yeah. I mean, she was like the village healer. So she would do stuff, give people treatments and ointments and that kind of stuff all times of night. You never know when people are going to get sick.
Did she ever do any kind of magic?
Magic? I don't think so.
Okay.
What did Jessica say when you found her?
Well, she had this look on her face like she'd been caught with her hand in the cookie jar. And I said, what's going on here, Jessica? And she said, bah, and she wasn't able to get any words out. Something about, I don't know exactly what she was saying, but I told her, you're in some trouble now.
Okay. But, I spoke to Bendel, and he said that no one's been killed in this town for quite a while. If you're the
That's
oldest
right.
one, when was the last murder you can remember?
Murder in the village? Oh, I can't think of any.
And you believe Jessica has the compatibility to kill another human being?
I wouldn't have thought so, but when I came in the house and I see Maud on the ground and Jessica standing nearby her, what else could it be?
She could have found her before you. I mean, if Maud was a healer who allowed people into her home, who's to say Jessica didn't come seeking healing?
You see,
And
he
then-
scratches his head from it. But then why all the commotion? Like, if she came in and was like, "Oh my God, there's someone dead," wouldn't she just come out and yell for help?
Well, if you live in a town that's never seen murder, the possibility of you seeing a dead body is probably that's her first, wouldn't you imagine, Wilkes?
Probably, but I still don't think that she would start breaking up the house.
I don't think she did. I think maybe she was scared and fell over or was trying to retreat quickly and didn't have her wits about her. But
No,
you said,
it was way too loud for something like that. This wasn't like a fainting spell. It sounded like, messing stuff up in the house. Like, every now and again, some kids become hooligans and start breaking stuff. It sounded like that.
That house. Was it Maud's or Jessica's?
Oh, that's Maud's house.
Can I roll insight to see if this guy's lying?
Sure.
Or try to see.
You have no idea, Hugo.
You're a weird dude, Wilkes.
well, stay here like you've been told. Make sure no one enters, Wilkes, and after the execution, we'll let you know what to do with the body, okay?
Sounds good. You told that lady that I did good. I let you in. I did what I told you. You told me she said you to do, and I've been here the whole time. Make sure you tell her.
I'll make sure she knows that you are very astute in following your directions.
All right
And
now.
I'll begin to like walk away with the group, and I'll turn and look at Grask and Jolly and say, so Hugo and I found a rune underneath the lady's body, a blood rune.
Did you speak to the body, to the tent?
I can't do that.
Can you, Hugo?
I can speak to them, but they don't speak back.
Well, I can do that.
Anyone can do that, Hugo.
I know, it was a joke. No, but it does look as though, the rune was used or something. There was less blood than there should have been where she was.
The ritual that was trying to be conducted is one that's self-inflicted. It's not one out of murder.
But why did all the stuff get broken up in the house then? How does this make sense?
Can I share with you my thoughts? What I think happened?
Sure.
So, you have a hooded woman who, as she admits it herself, is trained in the dark arts to be able to recognize them and understand them, potentially use them. She arrives in town, a town that has not had a murder or death of any kind in, goodness, years, enough that no one remembers it. All of a sudden, right after she shows up, right before she shows up, there's a murder with dark magic, rare dark magic, from the town's healer. My thought is that she arrived the day before she claims to have arrived, because the two knights stayed outside, so I believe they did it on purpose. She came inside. She staged this scene to make it look like Maud has committed some dark act, maybe forcing Maud to commit the dark act so she could benefit from it herself, and then found an easy scapegoat the following day after the murder was discovered, saying she's an investigator, and went to the one person who was at the scene of the crime and talked to another person who found that woman to be disdainful. That's at least what I gathered.
I mean, it's a good theory, but we don't have any proof. We can't say she was here, so it's a real leap of faith.
Sorry, I thought you were done. Go ahead.
No, just for Jessica. She seems like a lovely girl, but I don't know. The Church of Halen scares the crap out of me.
Well, here's my thought. If this woman, Lolica, is an investigator, she goes around investigating, then one of the people that she's with should be a paladin to do the executions. It doesn't appear that way to me. It appears those are two knights of Rosan.
And just to clarify here, to make sure we don't have any misconceptions, when I say paladins of Halen can execute justice, that doesn't mean that they are executors, right? Like, they're not the guys that kill people. They have the authority to say, this is the decision that I'm making. Like, they think of them as sort of like judge, jury, and judge and jury wrapped together, but they're not executioners. They pass judgment. If for some reason they decided to swing the sword, they obviously could, but it's more or less that they are authority figures that can decide, judge a situation and then say, this is my decision. They're sort of invested with that authority by the church.
Gotcha. So, real quick, while it's fresh on my mind, can I take out a piece of that parchment and my ink pen and retrace that blood rune that I saw onto a piece of paper?
You can. Yeah, I would say it's fresh in your mind enough.
Okay, I'll do that when we get outside, and I'll show everybody and say, look, this was underneath her, but it didn't have any residual magic to it. Hugo checked. There was no components in the woman's home representing any kind of black magic spell components, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed like such a step up from the salves and whatnot that she was working with to suddenly go hardcore blood magic. Well, I mean, this sounds like a fight to me, Hussein. Is that what you're suggesting?
I think we should accuse her and see her reaction.
Right, and what if she just acts outraged that you accuse her?
Then we tell her, oh, if it's that offensive, then when we get to Proudglaive, we can speak with the church there and make sure that this is a sanctioned execution via the Church of Halen.
Well, she's not going to wait for that, though. It's sort of weird that she's waiting this long, anyways.
I find that weird too, Hugo. There's too many weird things here for me to just believe that this woman, Jessica, committed such a foul act.
Well, I mean, something's not right here. I'm not sitting well with having someone get hung. So that didn't do it. And all signs are pointing to her not doing this.
The magic that was used. Whose blood?
It looks like hers. Her wrists were cut. It's hard to tell. You know, I don't have any knowledge with blood on confirming whose it was exactly, but it looked like hers.
Can a spell like that be done with the blood of another?
Adam, do I know that?
I mean, that's pretty broad. It'd be hard to say. I mean, there's all sorts of magic is sort of like a grab bag. Like with the right circumstances, almost anything can be done with magic.
But you could theoretically a spell could exist where you gain the benefit by using someone else's blood.
I would say not even theoretically. Yes, that's absolutely true. Blood is known to be a spell component in some evil rituals and sort of dark magic kind of stuff. General knowledge, I would say, if there's ever like, oh, someone's trying to summon a demon or a devil, like blood is often used in a ritual, something like that. So you'd probably hear a lot of old wives' tales and rumors and stuff along those lines.
Well, Jolly, you're new. And Basan, you're new. What do you guys feel about this? Do we stand up against these authority figures?
I honestly could care less about authority when someone's life is on the line that I don't feel like deserves to die.
Is there any way to just incapacitate them without killing them and then we free her and we all be on our way?
Just of somnolence.
They have an ability as well. You know, I'm not actually human, so I have a thing I can do.
Oh, you look it.
Hugo
Yes.
and Bazaine, you can blend in. But if we do this, they'll chase me and the cat to the ends of the earth.
Here's what I think. I have the ability to scare, right? Frightened other individuals. Maybe I could scare them away. With that fear in their hearts, we could swoop up, grab the prisoner, throw her on the cart, and take off.
I like that idea.
I also have the ability to turn people invisible, mind you.
If we wanted to do this, We'd have to kill them. It's the only way we don't get followed. Them and the people who are nearby. The eyes. And maybe Sebastian.
Well, now that I think about it, that's a good point. What if they don't see us free her? Right? We have one person invisible move their way towards the gallows. The other three create a large scene, a commotion perhaps, maybe an argument or say, get their vision diverted, and there was woods behind the gallows. Maybe that invisible person could take Jenny and sneak her through the woods quickly, and then they would never know that it was us because they were talking to us.
Well, they might assume we were part of a distraction, though. If that's when the Jessica disappears. But it's better than outright murdering them without being 100% sure. So I say let's try it.
For sure.
Who's the sneakiest one? I mean, I guess if you're invisible, you're sneaky, but
Me.
Yes, I think Jolly
Yeah.
would be good here.
right. All right. Well, I guess the rest of us get ready. Do you want to meet us somewhere down the road, Jolly? After you're free? Huh?
Sure.
I was gonna say we're traveling west along the road, so how about we say we meet you down west along the road a little bit? Hugo, I had an idea for us as well. What if when we return we tell Lolica that we lied about who we were and that we are both high-ranking officials with Halen?
Well, I mean, what if she starts asking me all sorts of questions and I don't know the answer to any of them?
Well, that's easy enough, right? Perhaps it's enough to at least buy us some time, right? We say that we are true investigators and we just happen to be passing through on our way to the tournament, and we have not heard of her, this, that, and the third, things like that.
So, a little bit of background information here. There are, as you might expect, there are different branches of the worship of Halen. So, in this area, the most prominent is referred to as the impregnable heart of Halen. That has the most influence here in Rosown. There is a smaller faction of Halen worshippers known as the Orthodox Imperial Temple of Halen. They are more closely aligned with Rosown's enemy, which is Demid, but they still have some sway here in Rosown. So you would, if you were trying to do that plan, you'd have to know which faction that Lolica is with in order to try to, say, oh yeah, I'm with this same faction as you, kind of thing. And as you're pondering this plan and trying to come up with what would make the most sense, you will notice as you're standing here in the village area, the entrance to the village, you see 4 villagers. They look just like the ones you saw by the gallows, returning with heads hung low as they're making their way back into the village.
Oh, they just did it while we were gone. Oh, hello. Did they shoo you away?
As you approach them, you notice the lead man looks up towards you and he just shakes his head back and forth. It's not right. They killed the wrong woman, I'm sure of it.
So they hung her.
They did, yes, not shortly after you left. I heard her tell you it was going to be an hour, but after you were gone, not 5 minutes, that's when she ordered it.
What did they do after they ordered it? Did they leave?
No, we watched her. We waited till she was dead. We argued the entire time, asked her to save her, but those knights wouldn't allow us to get any closer. And then once she was dead, they told us to return to the village. They asked us to summon Wilkes and send him to her.
Let's go back. She lied. She never intended to let me see it.
Well, Yeah, there's more. There's more to this than that, Rask. I think. What if we follow Wilkes and see what they talk about from afar? Is there a way to sneak behind him with the
Same theory, I
invisibility?
suppose. Make somebody invisible and allow them to get close to listen.
Let's do it, because they'll reveal what the hell's going on. And I want some answers.
Okay.
All right. Well, I've got about an hour on my invisibility, so I guess, Adam, if we're gonna, go past them and start making our way back towards where the gallows were, I'll cast it on Jolly as we're approaching, but not too close.
Okay. Yeah, so 5-minute walk between the gallows and the village. So basically, you go a couple minutes outside of the village in one of these copse of trees. Certainly, there's privacy there, and you cast your invisibility spell.
Yep. Actually, invisibility at 3rd level makes 2 people. So right before I cast it, I'll just say, do we want to send 2 people? Maybe Grask also.
Whoever can be sneaky on their feet. You gotta get real close to hear what they're saying.
Not my style.
Hugo, you go.
All right.
So I'll use my 3rd level invisibility there. I don't know why it said level 2, but here we go. 3rd level for Hugo and Jolly.
And I assume you guys left Sebastian, the cart, and the horses back in the village while you do this little expedition?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so you're hitting Jolly and Hugo with invisibility, and then your plan is to send the 2 of them forward? Or you're waiting for Wilkes to exit, and then you're trying to tail him?
Yeah, I mean, that was my
Yeah.
plan, at least, was to try to tail them so that we could get up when they talk to each other.
Okay, sure. So I will assume then that Basan and Grask remain back, and then Jolly and Hugo, who are both invisible, you notice the villagers, much like they told you, do indeed go talk to Wilkes and tell Wilkes, you overhear him saying, yeah, she wants you, and you see Wilkes looks back towards the house, looks towards them, and is like, okay, and starts making his way out there. So as you follow him behind and then cast this invisibility spell at a distance, it's not difficult to catch up to him fairly quickly for both Jolly and Hugo. So as the 2 of you guys do that, you find him approaching, getting closer to the gallows. And yes, you can definitely see that the woman is certainly hung here. And you notice that the priest woman, who seemed to be in the lead of this, is sort of just waiting here. And you notice that Wilkes will approach her, and she motions with her hand towards the body. And you hear her say, "Justice has been done. Dig her a grave over in the graveyard. I will need to say prayers upon it to make sure that her dark magic does not extend any further." Okay, so I've got... there we go. Okay, that took Jolly. Okay, so the 2 of you make your way over there. So as you do, as indicated, you're invisible. You notice Wilkes here step up to the woman. So I imagine you guys are following fairly close behind. So maybe you're somewhere like there. And you can see after this conversation happens, Wilk nods. He makes his way up here, undoes the noose, and takes the body and begins hauling it over to the graveyard. Both of the knights you see now step back closer towards the woman, and they talk briefly, and you see her looking towards them, and she says, "It will take him some time to dig the hole. I imagine we'll still be here a few more hours." And you notice the 2 knights nod to her. The one that you actually spoke with at first, you see he kind of gives a nod and then a shrug. "It will be late before too long. We may want to think about staying here in the village. I don't think we can make it back to Mienum Falls before nightfall."
Okay. Do we know where Mienum Falls is?
You do, yeah. Mienum Falls is a pretty popular area here. South of Red Tower, you guys went west. Had you crossed the bridge east instead, Mienum Falls is the largest establishment right there.
Okay. I move up and just try to get like a better look at her. Try to see any sort of, discerning marks or anything like that on her.
Okay, give me a blind stealth check. You are invisible, so obviously this will help you. Are you wearing heavy armor where you have disadvantage on stealth?
I have heavy armor on. Or let me see. I have scale mail.
Yep, okay, so that'll definitely do disadvantage on stealth. So go ahead and throw your stealth check. And then based on how close you're getting, Jolly, you do as well. I'm assuming your armor's light.
Yeah, leather.
I'm gonna burn my inspiration on this too.
Okay, then we will take that straight up instead of at disadvantage. All right, as you're trying to get closer, the sound of your armor is very easily recognizable by all three of these individuals. You see they all turn and look in your direction. They don't hear you, Jolly, or you don't think they do, but you notice the woman steps closer up on the gallows and she's looking out in that direction, and she looks back towards the knight and she says, "Did you hear that?" And he nods his head and he looks in that direction. You see he puts a hand to this great sword, whoosh, unsheaths it, and looks around. "If you're out there, step forward and reveal yourself."
Hugo stops moving completely.
All right, and you'll notice the one knight starts kind of just doing a little bit of a perimeter, kind of looking around and looking in all these different directions. The other knight steps away, but he seems to want to stay really close to Lalika. And you see he sort of just looks in that direction, and she looks back towards him and she says, This village seems to be much more entrenched in dark magic than we ever expected. There is something foul afoot here. Perhaps we should visit the village proper and do more further investigations."
And suddenly Hugo bursts and start running away.
All right, and they obviously can hear this, and you'll see they kind of take a couple of steps, but as you're running at top speed, they don't know exactly where you are. They're certainly not going to chase you too far, so you easily outpace them as you make your way back towards the village, running at top speed. But you can hear them all saying, "Oh," and then you see she actually says, "It must be somebody's invisible. That's the only thing that makes sense." And I think, guys, as we're a little bit after time, that is where we'll go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. But as Hugo's making his way back towards the village, is it my assumption that you guys are going to try to reconvene and continue on your journey, or are you trying to do further investigation or further actions here?
I mean, they didn't incriminate themselves with that conversation, so I guess Hugo would vote for just continuing on their journey.
No, that's what I was going to say. Like, if in their conversation they're like, "All right, on to the next victim," then obviously we would have another discussion. But maybe they're just really bad investigators.
I mean, if we hear someone dies in what the falls place, I forget the name of the first word for it, the Anemone Falls, or where they were going, Mienum Falls. If someone dies like the same way there, then we sort of know, but we won't know that unless we go there. So I'd say we just continue on.
It was probably either Jessica or Mode, and they're both dead.
Yeah, someone did it.
Okay, well, that's what we will assume then. You guys are heading back to the west, and we'll wrap up there. So great session, everybody. I will see everybody next week, and we will continue the adventure from there. Good night, everyone.
See you next week, guys.
Hey guys.
Take it easy, everybody.
Right.